And that is right, people. I am still no one has beaten me. Still no one taken this title away from me. Still no peasant can take this from me. But I am still your podcast prediction champion. I am still the excellent one. Give me 1 second here. 1 second, guys. 1 second, people. I'm still the excellent one, Ricky Goldman, and this is still the most electrifying podcast there is, the Reigning Rock Podcast. There it is right there. So, as always, do grab your drink, sit back, relax, like, subscribe, share, and all of that. So let's get down to it. I'm not one, but two co-hosts this evening. I'm never alone, and I mean never alone. So let me bring in the first co-host of today, new here on the Reigning Rock Podcast. He is the man himself, the man they call all the way from New York. He is Zubair.
What's going on, Ricky?
And how are you, Zubair?
Yeah, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in the People's Wrestling Channel. My boy Ricky here. We have been we've been coexisting each other a lot lately, haven't we, Ricky? We've been getting good buddies, especially case of Dr. Chris Featherstone.
Reigning Rock Podcast, but yes, that's the only thing I'll just say there, but yes.
Yes.
And he is a man all the way from Indiana, attending next year's Royal Rumble. He is the man they call Sam.
Howdy, good to be back.
All right.
And how are you today, Sam?
Oh, all right. Just enjoying the weather. I wish it was a little warmer, but what are you going to do, right?
True. And we are just, so before we kick things off properly, you're just 10 days away. That is right, 10 days away from the big day, from Christmas. I'm wearing my Hardy Boys Christmas sweater, Randy Orton Christmas hats, because everything has to be wrestling in my world. But we're just talking in pre-production. Pre-production. But Sam will be attending the Royal Rumble next year. But very quickly, both Zubair and Sam, are you both set for Christmas in 10 days' time?
Well, I'm been already celebrating Christmas. So here in New York, we just had SantaCon. SantaCon basically it's also for charity, which is why I take part of it. But it's also a basically national bar crawl, convention, kind of like Comic-Con, but except it's like more of the cooler type thing where like people like we get all the frats, all the people, all the baddies, as they say here. When you talk about girls and that kind of stuff, we interact, we have a good time. Vibe. It's a great way to also network. So it's just a great vibe. Let's just say that. So you're already celebrating Christmas, already getting gifts ready. It's gonna be a great time for the holiday season. It's the most wonderful time of the year. What can I say?
That is right. And Sam, are you already all set for Christmas, the big day, Christmas Day, in 10 days' time?
Well, I think I got my friends to go, so I'm 1 and 2, so that's some good news. And I think we'll be ready, willing, and able to tackle the holidays like every other year. I know I got a couple of family things to do, which is exciting.
I noticed you said there you've got your friends' gifts. Do you not buy your family any gifts?
I got my family, don't worry. I took care of that.
Good. That's family first, friends come second. But before we kick off properly, everybody watching, do get your comments in, like, share, all of that, subscribe, hit that bell to turn all notifications on. But we will kick off with the first segment here, which of course is this right here. That is right. So pull up a table. Let's just have a quick little chat here, because it's what's cooking at the table. So Sam, you've not been on for a couple of weeks. So yeah, what have you been up to the last time you were on?
Well, I've got my Breakfast with Santa still working on the Footloose. That's still going on. And then let me see here what else I've been up to real quickly.
think Tom's just turned into John Cena here, but there we are.
I will be doing. I just finished finals for school. I just got possibly do some personal development work for Cornell University. So, well, I'm going to do work for them for public speaking wise to get better at that.
Yeah, you say we've said this in the past. If I was on a stage, I would get very shy very quickly. I would say a few words and pass the microphone to somebody else. They can speak for me. So yes, more power to you, as they say. I'm not one for standing on the stage and speaking in front of a lot of people. But before we go to Zubair, I've been up to the usual. I go to the gym 4 times a week. I do attend a craft thing. I did make a bracelet. So says The Rock. What else would it say? And I did make and do make the card for the pay-per-view. So I did make. Why? I can never get it when I want to. The card for Saturday night's main event. And that's it, really. Did go to 2 shows. My last 2 shows of 2024. I know it's 2025. 2024 today and yesterday, but we'll get to that in a shortly here. And that's it. I'm kind of done for the year. I'll say Christmas, New Year, and then that's it. So Zubair, what have you been up to? I know you mentioned SantaCon, but yeah, what else have you been up to? You go to the gym. What else have you been up to?
Yeah, definitely the gym life. It's good to see Ricky. You're going, getting them gains yourself. Lately, cutting down on the schedule because of the holiday season. What I normally do, I actually do. What I learned, less is more. That's what I've learned lately. Less is definitely more. Instead of doing like sometimes, I've been going 3-4 days. I'm now doing more so like 3 to 2 days, full body. It definitely gets the job done. The main thing, you gotta just work on those muscles at least 2 to 3 days. So that's just something to keep in mind. Other than like the gym life, working, enjoying just putting up Christmas trees. It is also a very busy time in the workplace, so just gotta do that. And regardless, man, just just loving wrestling, right? Reviewing, even though I tapped on it a bunch of times. You know better than me, Ricky. You know,
Is your job putting up Christmas trees?
not well. No, I've been.
Okay.
What I mean by that is that I've been helping out people
Right.
I know Christmas trees,
Okay.
especially including
Hey,
my.
I got my dad help you out. He was a Christmas tree farmer back in the day, so
I'm sorry.
my dad was a Christmas tree.
Oh, nice.
Like he worked at a Christmas tree farm back in the day, so maybe he could help you out a little bit.
Wonderful.
I was just going to say that's very. If your job is putting up Christmas trees, that's very limited. Well, okay. Here, people start putting up their trees and decorations at the beginning of October, but it is a very limited thing. It's like a month, should be a month thing, really. I understand people putting up their trees and decorations at the beginning of December. That's fine. But not earlier than that. Ugh, no. People are wishing the year away and wishing time away. No. Is it like anything like that where you are, Sam? Do people put up their trees and decorations months before Christmas?
Sometimes I'll start in November, but that's the latest they'll start.
That's fine, I suppose. Zubair, is it the same way you are or no?
Yeah, just like I'm sorry. What's your name? What's your name, dude?
Sam.
Sam. Yeah, Sam. So just like Sam says, it's a case. You get some of those people. They want to get it done, or they just here in America we have Thanksgiving. A lot of people just like to scroll by Thanksgiving sometimes to get to Christmas. Obviously, you have people that celebrate both, but they just build up the Christmas trees anyways. You're gonna have that scenario going on, but in the end of the day, I do see more so people they'll be definitely celebrating the Christmas, putting up the trees, all the decoration. Definitely, it'll be apparent at December.
I just see it as wishing time away and wishing just no.
Yeah, you gotta take a day one time, one at a time. You only have one life, right? So you gotta take it a day at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get older.
Yeah, I am old. I'm 37 now. 3 years, I'm 40. So to me, life is very precious and very, yeah, like you say, take it one day at a time.
Yes.
But let's get into the second segment, and then I will play an ad. So there's one ad here, and then another ad will come later on. But the time is to put on the Hollywood lights, walk down Hollywood Boulevard. Is that a thing? Because it is time for. That is right, movie talk. So 3 movies. So the first one I watched 3 movies a week. So the first one I watched was Armor. Ew, Sylvester Stallone's new movie. No, don't bother. Sam, have you watched any movies lately, any documentaries or anything really outside of the world of wrestling?
I have not. I have not, but I want to see The Rock's new movie, Red One. I've been meaning to check that out.
Went to the cinema to watch that. Great. Well, I liked it, of course, The Rock. But Moana 2 I thought was much better. So if you're into your kiddie movies, I will sit and watch anything. So if you're into your kiddie movies, go and watch Moana 2. Great movie. Second movie I watched was Liam Neeson's new one, Absolution. Eee. Liam Neeson doesn't make the movies like he used to do. It's not Taken as this, like Taken was a big movie for him, and anyway, Zube, I don't know if you watch movies. I don't know if you go to the cinema or have you been watching any movies, documentaries, or anything again outside the world of wrestling.
Yeah, no, of course. There's more in life than just wrestling. Yeah, it just there's not have been a lot of movies that intrigue me much. I mean, I know about Red One. It just looks like typically like a typical Rock film where he just kind of the same character. You know, again, I love The Rock. Don't get me wrong. It just he seems like always the same character. I did not know that Sylvester Stallone though had another movie. I think that just lack of promotion. That's also the problem with movies. There's like lack of promotion to make me even like realize, wow, these are these movies coming out, and I could go or put the effort to actually want to see them. But really, I'm just kind of in the phase where I just sometimes a lot of these movies are just not like my cup of tea to just go out of cinema, especially with a lot of things going on, like where you have these streaming sites that are going to showcase these movies more so. But all I've been doing is watching good old classic Christmas films, you know, like again, Home Alone, the How the Grinch Stole Christmas, all those classics. You know, I love the classic, nostalgic Christmas films. It definitely makes the holidays even worthwhile. And also I'm a big Tim Allen Santa Claus fan.
Yeah. Is that A Miracle on 34th Street? Have you seen that movie? That's a classic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen both. Definitely classics. 1994 is not bad, but definitely the original is a way classicer film, or way nostalgic film. Definitely.
Were you one of these people that count Die Hard as a Christmas movie or no?
So with Die Hard, as far as for the first film, I do think if a movie includes a Christmas scene, it's not a problem to be watching. Like for example, I know some girls that they'll watch Mean Girls as a Christmas film. Why not? You know, like they were literally showing. Actually, doesn't one film I actually did saw recently, Mean Girls, the 2004 film with Lindsay Lohan. They literally right when I turned on the TV, instantly the Christmas dance. So that was like pretty funny. Like, and it was like the Christmas time. So I do consider Die Hard a Christmas film if it's an event that happens on Christmas time. I just think that the reason why people don't acknowledge it as a Christmas film is just because the movie was not released around the Christmas time. So, yeah.
It's not a classic, like, so I think it's arguable. Yes, it got set at Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie, but it's not really one you would sit around with a family and watch Halloween, Home Alone. You wouldn't sit at Home Alone with a family or Miracle on 34th Street or The Grinch. The Grinch is another great one.
But keep
Dio's
in
not really
mind,
one of those you're going to sit and watch with the family, I suppose. But
But keep in mind, Ricky. Like there's Halloween film. Like there are Halloween films that are like, for example, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees with the Friday the 13th. Those are how those are Halloween type of films. But again, you don't watch them with the family. So not really films are just about family. So there's different kinds of categories that can be involved as a Christmas film. And I would say why not? Like Die Hard is a nice film that I'll even watch on Christmas, whether you consider it a Christmas film or not.
and you are right with the streaming services. I go to the cinema to watch the Rocks movie, so I went to watch Red 1, Moana 2. Otherwise, it's Netflix or on Fire Stick for free. Because I've not got money to keep going to the cinema to watch these movies every month.
Yeah, I think that's
But
why.
if I went, sorry,
I'm sorry. I should continue. I'll talk after.
if I went to the cinema and watched all 3 movies a week, that's English pounds. That's 30. That's 30 English pounds. That's get snacks and stuff. So that's a week. In a month, that's 120. In a year, that's like £1,000 just to go into the cinema. So, and not all of them are at the cinema. But none of them, most of them are like, ugh. Like the new, like you said, the new Sylvester Stallone one, you didn't know. Don't bother watching it. My recommendation is very bad. It's a very bad movie. Like, there's no Rocky, there's no Rambo.
Yeah, it's just a lot. Again, a lot. I just feel like it's not just with wrestling. I feel a lot of things nowadays in this generation are just not as good as the old. It seems like the generation we are living in is half. How can I keep this PG? It's like it's halfly. Like the effort is not as the same as was before. It's not just the lack of originality; it's also the lack of care. Again, there's nothing that to me that is worth watching in this generation. That's why I sadly look to the past. Really, I mean, we're always gonna enjoy nostalgia, and nostalgia is a wonderful thing. But it's just like the reason why we're more pushing to maybe go to the nostalgic sides because unfortunately a lot of things that are going on in terms of entertainment, it's just not as good. So that's what I would say. So it's not just with wrestling, it's also with more so with movies to me, TV shows. That's my point. So yeah, right now I'm only just watching classics, classic Christmas films, classic movies in general, whatever's on the telly, right? As they say in Britain.
Yes, most movies now are just like CGI, remakes, sequels. Very little originality nowadays. You are 100% correct. And then when they come out with an original movie, it's like, it's not CGI. So it doesn't look as good. And the third and final movie was a Christmas movie on Netflix. Thank you for Netflix. Claus Family 2. The first one was good. Second one was decent. So yeah, that's a Christmas movie. But I 100% agree with you. No originality. It's all, like I said, CGI, remake after remake after remake, live action after live action, sequel after sequel. Like, look what Lion King has just come out. It's coming out. Live action and sequel. Like,
CG. It's kind of, so in my honest opinion, like terrible CGI. No,
and
I mean it's not terrible, but it's just like not exactly as good as CGI as like another film. It's computer animated. People like to say, "Oh, it's a CGI." It's just literally just a little computer animated, whatever. It's not something.
And the first Lion King, the remake. Oh, not as good as the original. The original classic movie for me. The original I used to watch like 3 or 4 times a day. Just watch it and rewind it. Watch it, rewind it. You can't beat the classic Lion King.
And one thing, the sad thing is they changed the backstory in the new Lion King. So it's just like that always bugs me with like whenever they do like a sequel or reboot. It's basically they changed the script where the whole idea of Scar being the brother, now he's like his adopted brother. It's like that was never the point of the original. It just Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that what the new one is? He's an adopted brother.
Oh, you didn't know? I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you, but yeah.
Well, I'll still watch it. But yes, the first one, the added bits that weren't in the originals, like that never happened.
Yeah, but it's definitely sad. But people want to say like, "Oh, I'm gonna go watch it because in honor of the unfortunate passing of Mr. How can I forget his name again?
John Jones, Darth Vader, or
but how am
we passed him in the original.
I feel like a dick right now because how can I forget the great name of him?
Earl John Jones, wasn't it?
No, not Jones. Oh, James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones.
That's right. Okay, we got there in the end.
Yeah, it is. I'm still coping with that. I'm still coping with a bunch of celebrities that we're losing a lot of good celebrities now who are very talented individuals. James Earl Jones is one of the talented individuals, and may God rest his soul. But the thing is, for people saying that they're gonna be seeing the movie because of him. Apparently, there's no voice dialogue of him in the movie. So what are you really going to the movie for when it's unless what they're gonna probably do is just because get it. If you're gonna go watch it, we'll put in a little bit of a pre-recorded voiceover from an old Lion King movie just to satisfy you. That's what they might sadly do. But at the end of the day, I just think that's that's just a cash grab, and it's not really something that would be worth honoring the memory of James Earl Jones.
They showed the trailer of it during SmackDown. Oh, that was awful. Oh, because they showed the trailer of it during SmackDown, so they must W are money churning machine, and they must be paid a ton. But they played a trailer, and then they did another segment with Timon Pumbaa on screen, and then they showed the trailer again during a match. Like, okay. But when I watched the trailer, I thought, this doesn't look good.
I will say this, I remembered, that's a funny thing. I remember when SmackDown was on, they were showcasing Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever with a WWE with a match. I'm just thinking to myself, that is just terrible. They're like, again, the wrestlers are not going to be in this movie, and then you're showcasing these wrestlers they're teaming up with Sonic the Hedgehog. It's like, what are we doing here? What kind of pre-recorded crap are we watching? I understand it's all for money, but imagine if you were to do that with Austin, Rock, Triple H. How does that? It just goes to show, this is the way of current generation of production is just it's they don't think.
It's insane how the production is just everywhere. It's ad, promote with very little wrestling. But I understand it's all about making money, and they must have been paid a ton from Sonic. They must have been paid a ton from Lion King. It's just it's about making money. But speaking about making money, I need to make some money. So send me money via a T-shirt, and that is in 10 days' time. Should be still time to order one, but take a good look at this. Oh. That is right. Apologies. My phone didn't fall then. It was The Rock trying to come through my screen and lay the smackdown on me. But yes, Protein Tees Gummins one. All designs. Order now. You can get it under your Christmas tree, ready for the big day. All my socials on screen right now. And they follow me, like, subscribe, all of that. And we'll go to very quickly the next segment, which is about the shows I attend. We'll quickly go through that and then get into some wrestling chatter. But let's get to this first.
It is now time for Wrestling Days Out with Ricky the
That is right. And Sam, I'm assuming you recognize that voice there.
Yep.
So yes, Wrestling Days Out with Ricky Gunn, my 2 final shows of 2024. So 36 in total for this year. I've looked at all the shows I went to this year, 36. Still not beating my record of 37 last year, but it is what it is. Yeah, 2 good shows today. It was all about Christmas. Good shows to end the year for the coming year I went to. Then I went to one yesterday. Also good. There was a hardcore match. So yeah, 2 good shows to end the show on. And that's it. That's really all I can say about them. But let's get into some wrestling talk. Let's all hook up. It's a triple threat match because it is time for.
It is now time for wrestling.
And Sam, I'm going to get you to do it live. What time is it for?
Wrestling Roundup.
That is right. Starting, of course, with AEW and Zubair. I do not what part of the pay-per-views do not watch AEW. So it's purely just based off results. That's it.
Okay.
I review shows bronze to silver, gold. AEW's never had a gold, but there it is. So let's just run through. Let's run through Dynamite. So the Death Riders over Orange Cassidy and Jay White by DQ. Will Ospreay knocked off Claudio Castagnoli in this, and you'll know more than me, Zubair, and you can give your thoughts in a second because you watch Dynamite. I do not. Now, isn't this part of the Continental Classic heading into World's End? I don't know, but Adam Cole went over. Kyle O'Reilly and will go on to face MJF at World's End. Ricochet over Brody King. Also, I think that was part of the Continental Classic. And a match that really should have been at World's End, but wasn't. Mina Shawaka lost to Mariah May. Mariah May still champion. Bronze. Yeah. So yeah, Zubair. It was Ricochet beating Brody King and Will Ospreay beating Claudio. Was that part of the Continental Classic?
I believe so. From what I remember, yes. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Ricky. Just like yourself, I actually don't watch the entire shows of Dynamite. What I would do, the key thing is, I would probably watch what I miss, because actually this past Wednesday I was actually not home, and I've been doing this a lot lately because AEW has destroyed my interest, and that's also normally the case with just modern wrestling because I'm just not a big fan of the current modern wrestling world. So that's the secret. I don't really watch the entire shows, or at least I keep myself preoccupied because I'm just not a fan of modern wrestling. Just my opinion. If you guys like it, no problem. You know, we're more tied to your opinion. But I from what I remember, yes, because I've seen the results. Yes, it is the Continental Club.
Like I said, I watched the pay-per-views and then I'll still watch them next year, but
just keep in mind, the only reason why I cover it is because it's part of my content for my channel. Like, it's like what I review. So technically I'm blindly reviewing the show, but it's like if you have a brain, you know the shows are just not as good. You know, they're just not good. So
if I can offer you some advice, I were to maybe review some classic pay-per-views or something, I would get it well away from AEW, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah, I get
look,
you.
Look at my collection. AEW should be geared to me, someone that lives and breathes wrestling. And
there's nobody who loves wrestling than you. I get you.
Well, people that spend money in to go to WrestleMania, I would say they love wrestling. Well, okay, they've got money. Probably not love more wrestling more than I do, but they have money.
Mm-hmm.
And they also are spending, they're willing to spend that money on the $10,000, $20,000 for a WrestleMania ticket. But AEW should be geared to me, and they've driven me away. No, that's not good. That's not good.
I mean, that's not good because, like, I always question Ricky. Like, you definitely come off as a fan of like just everything wrestling. It doesn't matter if the show is bad or not. Like, you're a fan of. You seem to be more a fan of the modern wrestling product. What is it? If I can get a little understanding of you, what is it that you absolutely don't like about AEW, but like love so much about WWE? Because I feel like they're like the same thing. It's just like WWE is the cooler thing to like now, just because Vince McMahon's gone.
Very quickly, I'll do this in 2 minutes. Everything. The match, just everything. So, okay, with the pay-per-views, it's match after match after match after match. There's no breathing space. We'll talk about Saturday night's main events that wasn't good, but a usual WB pay-per-view, you'll get a match, then you'll get a ad, or you'll get what's coming up on Raw. So that gives you time to think, oh, that was a good match, that was a bad match, rather than right on to the next. Look at the card for Full Gear. None of those matches should have been on pay-per-view. Probably Wrestle Dream as well, the same. I describe AW as 95% bad and a 5% good. You have these little tiny bits of good in a world of bad. So, for example, a good thing is the Outrunners, they're being pushed. So that's good, but it's a loss just in a world of bad, of crap wrestling. None of the matches are good. The attendance is bad, the ratings are bad. And okay, I don't want to be one of those guys that, well, I judge it on if the ratings are good, it must be good wrestling, but that's true. If the rating, if wrestling is good, the ratings will be good.
But what makes the show different from WWE? Because if anything, in my opinion, I think that it's about the same, except like the difference of ads, where like it's match after match after match, barely any story. If they only do a stories with the Bloodline, and other than that, the ratings are not very good compared to how it was back in the day. So like, what really makes it? Because if anything, the people who watch AEW is really just the same niche who watches WWE.
So match after match, we're going back to the pay-per-views. They're like 6 hours. Full Gear was 5 hours, an hour for the pre-show 0 hour. That's 6. If you're watching the media from, that's 7 hours. Even I've not got that time to watch wrestling.
But like WWE does the same thing though. They have like, okay, sure, like the pay-per-views have gotten a little shorter, but then they do the media scrum. And again, keep in mind, WWE just recently had 3-hour Raws, but they're doing like a temporary 2-hour Raw. Their shows have gotten long, or just about as long. So I kind of like, I understand, like, if you like it, whatever. But it's just, to me, I feel like both shows are the same exact issue.
Raw isn't good right now. It definitely isn't. It's just apart from the Raw last week with CM Punk and Rollins and the New Day, that was good. Other than that, Raw's been throw it at the wall and see what sticks. It's going to be the same between now and I need 2 more Raws left, and you probably get a best of for the one at the end of the year. And if all 3 are actual Raws, you get 3 more Raws. Throw it at the wall and see what sticks. They don't care. Their focus is Netflix. Their focus is where the money is. Raw's, I'm not saying Raw's good, but it's the only one good thing is it's 2 hours, much easier to watch. It's like, okay, it's only 2 hours of this crap.
I agree. It's
but for me, NXT is the brand for me, but I don't think they've been a bad NXT all year, and you have anybody from Joe Henry, Jordan Grace, Rosemary. You have the Rascals, so people from other companies. You have legends like Eric Bischoff and RVD on. Last year, was it the Undertaker and Cena was on? Just anybody can turn up to NXT. They treat it as a separate entity to kind of WWE. Like, NXT's good and Raw's bad. So I'm not saying Raw's fantastic, but is it better than AEW?
But keep in mind, though,
Yeah.
why they did that was it like it was called the NXT Mania last year with the where Cena and Taker appeared. They only did that because for ratings ploy. They were against AEW. Now they don't really that's the thing. Isn't that a funny thing? Like they can barely put any effort compared to last year, because that's how I will say it is. Like the AEW has really crumbled. Even the smarky fans are like they discovered themselves. The smarky fans themselves are not even fans of AEW anymore. Like that just goes to it's really more so because of the whole cool idea. Like it's the bandwagon mentality where it goes to like, oh, people are gonna like now WWE just because Triple H is in charge type of deal. But they don't even need to bother to put that much effort as they did last year, because AEW has been consistently getting awful. Tony Khan's making terrible creative decisions, the lack of star power, lack of just storylines and characters, and really just WWE taking their kind of the core audience where like the wrestling was the idea that all these wrestling fans were wanting, well, especially the smarky fans. Like, why would they waste their time watching another company where just could all watch it in the popular brand like WWE? That's basically what they're doing. But again, last year they only did for late ratings ploy, just to make that clear. It's not like they're really gonna. They're never gonna just bring. The reason why they bring Eric Bischoff, they brought in X-Pac again. It really just for a ratings ploy.
Well, that's what it. Of course, that's what it is every week. They bring in these legends to pop the ratings, but it is cool to see them. And
I mean, it's cool. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, when they did the one in Philly with ECW NXT-esque, I thought if they did that on Raw, it wouldn't have been half as good as it was. You would have got RVD in the crowd and Brother Ray Dudley maybe in a match, and that was it. And that's all you'd get. And then the rest of it, everybody else on Raw. I thought the one in Philly was good. So, but do you want to give a rating for Dynamite, Zubair, or no?
A rating? I mean, I'll be very negative. I'm going to be very negative, so I don't think it's worth getting a rating. All I will say is just, again, the show wasn't great. It wasn't good. So, that's all I have to say. Just typical AEW trash there.
Sam, I know. I'm sorry you've been quiet for a minute or two. Do you want to say anything about AEW, or shall I just move on to Rampage?
Move on to Rampage, and you might if AEW is this trash, it may not even be worth getting a review.
Right, and so I'll do Rampage and Collision together. Right, just so take a little breath. So,
all right.
On Rampage, Powerhouse. So this I don't get. Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Davis knocked off Lance Archer, and I can never pronounce his name, so I'll say Takeshita, the new champion.
This is why people don't watch.
What champion is he? I forget.
But let me just make this. I'm sorry, Ricky, but this is why people don't watch. It's like you're doing stuff. Then this is why people have given up on rim. Whatever. I was going to say a very derogatory term. This is why people don't watch Rampage. This is why people don't watch Collision. Is that they barely, not only this lack of star power, but they barely do any sensible booking. They just put on just jobbers on the TV show. It's unbelievable. That's why if anything, Ricky, I've given up on reviewing Collision and Rampage. So there you go.
So have I. I'm just going to see this out for the rest of the year and next year. I think I'm going to watch more TNA. TNA is really blowing up for me, but also another reason why I dislike AEW. If you can see who's the champion now, or John Moxley. Okay. So if you can see John Moxley on Collision, on Rampage, on Dynamite, why am I tuning into Dynamite to watch him when I can see him on any random show? You're not going to see Roman Reigns on, well, I suppose what's Rampage in WWE? Main event? Not even main event. Oh, probably, maybe main event. You're not going to see Roman Reigns turning up a main event and losing. So, if I can see, what champion is he? Oh, God, not the Continental. Not North American, international, whatever the title is, is it the international title? I think. So I can see the international champion on Rampage or Collision. Why am I tuning into Dynamite? And just for the fact that I can't remember what title he won, just shows how disinteresting AEW is. But I will continue to review just for the rest of the year. So 3 more episodes of this podcast. Anyway, Deanna Purrazzo went over Shazza McKenzie. I remember when Deanna Purrazzo came to NXT, AEW was like, here she comes, like it was The Rock coming to AEW, and she now beats jobbers. Toni Storm is back. She returned on Dynamite, I believe. Went back to the rocker gimmick, rocker and timeless mix. So I like Toni Storm. That is one of the review things about AEW. So I'll review it. I'll go to the next match and then get your thoughts on Toni Storm, Zuber. And then Matt Cardona, woo, you know it, knocked off Brian Keith, bronze. Yeah. So yeah, Zuber, do you like what they're doing with Toni Storm? Do you like a gimmick?
So here's one of the positive things you'll hear me say about AEW, Ricky, because I know you have said that I've been sound very negative. But again, it's not like I want to be negative. I'm just very truthful. You know what I mean? I know what things are good, things are not good. I'm not trying to sound like, smarky type of shit, but sorry, my profanity, if that's okay. But like the reality is, what makes money, what's good, it's understandable why it makes money, and most likely I'm going to praise it. Timeless Toni Storm was an actually great character for Toni Storm. First of all, beautiful, attractive woman, insanely talented. Wonderful lady. Great gimmick with Timeless Toni Storm. The problem with rocker gimmick, I don't really care for it because it's like, it's typical. Say, I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to, have great matches. And the only highlight is just, basically what she's been even doing on the Timeless gimmick. It's kind of, thankfully, that little plot of her that as a wrestling move. We know what we're talking about, right? But again, Timeless gimmick was a great gimmick, very unique with AEW. Her being, again, this, I'm trying to remember the movie. It's a very classic movie. But again, just the Timeless gimmick actually worked. It actually gotten praised. It was making money. It was a gimmick. But, we're going to stop that gimmick because, Tony Khan is a mark for Dave Meltzer. We're going to stop that. We're going to bring back, the rocker gimmick, even though that's not really character. Just because, Tony Khan and Dave Meltzer, they're like, buddy. And that just, again, goes to show a little favoritism that Dave Meltzer has for AEW. And that's why, unfortunately, just because Tony Khan's a big mark for him, we lose on a great gimmick. Now, what's there to really care about with Toni Storm? Was there to really care about in terms of AEW? So that's like one less thing to like any redeemable qualities about AEW. Just my opinion.
From what I read in the note, she's mixing. So she's rock a gimmick, but she's going to do timeless stuff now and again. So it's like a hybrid of the two gimmicks. So
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't think they're showing. If there's supposed to be a hybrid, it's not greatly shown. You know what I mean? So again, I just think from what I know is unfortunately they stopped a gimmick clearly because Tony Khan knows how Dave Meltzer feels about the gimmick. For some reason, he doesn't like the gimmick because everything's about just work rate and like it's all it's Toni Storm's work is not really very good as a timeless gimmick. I really prefer her rocker gimmick, and I just I just thought her matches like you just need to be better, just like need more inner talent. Just it's just as great as like Tony make Kenny Omega match. Like Kenny, you know what I mean.
That's exactly what Dave Meltzer probably says to Tony Khan. Too many Tonys. Tony Khan. Well, forget that this gimmick makes you money or anything like that. Forget that. What about her work rate? Oh, of course. Well, of course, Dave, you're right. But give me 1 second here. I do need to put my phone on charge. Just give me 1 second. I will go over Collision, and then if you want to give your thoughts, whilst I put my phone on charge.
We can't forget about Sam, buddy. We got to acknowledge we have Sam over here.
He said just move on. He doesn't watch AEW, so.
Okay, no problem. We can definitely move as long as we can because I think I'm just not gonna say good things. So.
So on Collision, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches. Add another 7 matches. There you go. There's a pay-per-view. Anyway, Jamie Hayter, who just recently returned, got knocked off by Willie Nightingale, and she's going after a title now at Wrestle Dynasty next year in January, I think. Okada went over the beat Mortis. Tony Storm beat Shazza McKenzie. Leo Rush and Action Andretti over at Top Flight. Tutti Lin got beat by Chris Lander in. Okay, so speaking of the Outrunners, I spoke about the Outrunners earlier. Orange Cassidy, the Outrunners, Daniel Garcia, and Commander over XMX Collection. Tony Nese, Ari Daivari, and Josh Wood. So, like I said, Outrunners are getting a good push, and I like that, but it's a tiny bit in a world of bad. And Mark Briscoe getting a win against Kyle Fletcher. I'll say a bronze. Any thoughts, Zubair? Whilst I put my phone on charge, give me a second.
I'll be honest with you. You screwed that. You scroll over that one. I did not even like. I did not really care. And that's not against you. I just did not like. That's like, who really cares? I don't care because my God, there's nothing going to be amount to anything with this. There's nothing to look forward to. There's nothing. And I know, Ricky, you don't care too. You said yourself you don't care. This was just, again, I'll get it. Match results. Like, who's gonna really care about this? So, in all honesty, like, it was just like a typical. It's just like you're watching it's just a house show. It's just a freaking house show. You put, for like a garage fed. I don't know.
Pretty much. So, moving away from trash. Well, like Raw's no better, but at least it is better than AEW. Anything, empty rings better than AEW. But
I'll give it that, dude. Like, I'll be begging for a Raw compared to an AEW. I'll tell you that. That's something we can agree with.
Even though some of what they did on Raw didn't really make much sense, but we'll get to it. So on Monday Night Raw this week, you're starting off with Gunther coming on out. Judgment Day did. Finn Balor on the mic. Damian Priest comes out. This is obviously before Saturday night's main event. We got added into the match for Saturday night's main event, which I liked. I called what happened. Yeah, I like Priest, and I like what they're doing with him, and he's looked good since losing the title at SummerSlam. Yeah. Storyline, people. So what happened at Saturday night's main event? I called it. I said that a certain somebody would get pinned, and they did. So yeah, a decent start to Raw. Sam, your thoughts?
Well, I think with the Raw starting, it was good. I just don't think you should have added Finn Balor in the mix because he's not championship worthy. Maybe a year ago he was, but he's not anymore, in my opinion. He needs to be built up a little bit.
He was in the match got made last week, and Priest got added. Finn didn't get added. Priest got added.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just think Finn Balor. I think it should have been Damian Priest first, and then Finn Balor gets added.
Yeah, but yeah, I suppose. But
I was happy. I was happy when Priest got added too, and I like Priest. I think he might be the one to dethrone Gunther if it's the right place. He might. I said he might.
Might is a big word, yes. But rumors are Cena at Mania, which I don't like. I like Gunther. Very quick 10-second rant. So I like Gunther, even though he's treated like everybody else. He's just another guy. He's a guy with a belt. That's all he is now, unfortunately. And I like Gunther, and I think he should surpass Reigns. He should be champion for the next 5 years. Why not? Look at him. Look at Gunther.
I agree.
Yeah, he's probably going to lose to Cena at Mania, and he'll meet just to give you that Cena that 17th title run so he can surpass the record. Even though it's never going to happen because Ric Flair's a 24-time champion and no one's ever going to surpass him. But the WWE record, the recognized record, yeah, he's probably going to do it at Mania.
And he'll do it as a Hall of Famer too. Probably they're thinking about putting him in the Hall of Fame.
Where is it? It's Las Vegas, isn't it? Yes, but what big legend is from Las Vegas, I suppose. Yeah. I could see him going in, yeah. Probably. Who else have you got for big names? The Rock? No.
It's not time for him to go to Fame yet.
But yes, I could see Cena going to being the headliner. Anyway, sorry, Zubair, your thoughts on the beginning of Raw with Gunther, Priest, and Balor?
I just thought that there's no way that you should be making Damian Priest and Gunther look weak to the Judgment Day. Okay, that is for sure. Because when you have those two guys, it's like Rock and Austin looking weak to Kai and Tai. Okay, that's my opinion. All right, we like that. I understand they like to pretend that the Judgment Day are this big tag team, but again, they lose a bunch of times. They lose so many times. They only win against when it's like a tag title match. That's not proper booking. Let's just go on along with that. That's not proper booking. I don't mind a triple threat, and I have seen the triple threat match at Saturday Night Main Event. I don't mind it was a triple threat, but I just think there should be a better way to go around that. Like for example, if going back to let's say the Vince Russo and Dr. Chris Featherstone way of thinking, right? Because they actually know how to digress something like that, and I'm gonna shout out to them. If let's say this, you want to add Priest back into the match, back in the title scene, they should have done what happened on the show, lead to a proper main event. Maybe sure, this would have been, can they coexist bull crap? But at least it would make sense to help Priest get, there'll be some stakes involved. If Priest and Gunter was to face the Judgment Day in the main event, and then they win, then Priest could have got a title match. Then no, then that would make perfect sense. That would have made perfect sense instead of just Adam Pearce just adding into the match. You know what I mean? It just also you at least look forward to an actual main event. Because to me, I don't even think they had a proper main event to look forward to on Raw. I don't even remember what was the main event, but there you
go. Rhea Ripley. Well, we'll get to it, but Raquel and Rhea.
Oh, well, there was no story, no real story to make you care for that as a main event. So. That's my opinion.
Like I've said, they're throwing it at the wall and see what sticks. If anything works, they're probably seeing if anything works, great. If it doesn't, they don't care. Their focus is Netflix.
It's not about it. Keep in mind that again, this is not trying to sound sexist. Again, it's just your typical women's main event where they're trying to have get it. It's all an agenda. We're going to have the women main event because we have to showcase the women because people will complain that how come they're not showcasing the women as importance. Even though when you have a storyline with Punk and Rollins, you have, again, Damian Priest with the Judgment Day type of deal and even Gunter. But again, they should really be booking Gunter so much better. Gunter literally has this presence of him and he has the if factor. All right, I do think as a foreign wrestler who can speak English, cut a promo, they should not have had him this whole booking of him looking questioning his confidence. It's just so unbadass of him. It's not cool. You don't want to see that. You never seen guys like Rock and Austin, and even guys like Taker and Michaels, Triple H, questioning about their confidence. It just to me, it's just a bunch of BS.
When I said throw it at the wall, see what sticks, I mean just Raw in general, that it's been for last week, for the past 3 months. It's just if anything works, great. Well done. Well done to them, I suppose. But if it doesn't, they don't care. They're looking at January 6th. It's all about the money. Well, yeah, and I like what you said. He's like Rock and Austin losing to Kai and Tai. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah,
Ricky, they're just really just going on. I don't know what's the term, but they're on a cruise. They're just going on cruise sailing. They're just cruise sailing to Netflix. That's really you're gonna see more so. They're not gonna put much effort at the moment for until when they go on Raw. Like they're clearly booking, priority what's going on for the card for Raw on Netflix. It definitely looks like they're trying to put some effort with that, which I love to see. I am looking forward to that. But watch what happens after Raw when the first episode is going to be big, but then they're going to be back to their usual antics because they already have the money. They're just going to try
Sorry. I think they might keep it up for a month, heading into Rumble, Saturday night's main event and Rumble. Okay, maybe not Saturday night's main event, but the Rumble. And then they'll go back to what? Oh, no, I don't know, because they're getting paid a lot, and you're not going to get pre-tape Raws anymore, so...
But keep in mind, Ricky, they were being paid so much money when SmackDown was on Fox. They made SmackDown on Fox the debut, the biggest show they can, and then they decided to basically just do usual, SmackDown antics. Only a certain time of the year they try to treat it with such importance because it was like an anniversary, a big deal, or something like a big segment happening. They never really treated like what SmackDown on Fox is. And that's why, by the way, that is why they're no longer on Fox anymore. It's really because they failed. And again, Fox was expecting more ratings. WWE, they took the lazy way out where they got guaranteed money and decided to just go cruise ship. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to at least impress the viewers. That way you can, and that way, and like in long term, it would benefit you where you get to stay on a specific channel and you can be paid even more money. And the beautiful thing is you would have still more viewers. Unfortunately, they failed on delivering the viewership as they wanted. And that's why, unfortunately, SmackDown's no longer on Fox. They were being paid really good money. And they could have been paid more.
Very quickly, Jobs, I was going to say like 10 seconds here before I move on to the first match. They're getting paid 5 times more on Netflix. I live in a world where I think WWE can be good. They just choose not to be. Yeah. So hopefully they can be good again on Raw. They're getting paid $5 billion to do so. So they should put out some good products. But will they part from the first Raw? Let's wait and see. But we had Final Testament of the Wyatt Six. Yeah. And I know that a lot of people are complaining about this. I'm really not one of them. I understand that Wyatt Six would really look like undefeated monsters, but
I laugh.
Oh God!
Did have,
I hate the Wyatt Six so much because, gosh, dang, at least he gets it. It's in my opinion they keep tarnishing a legacy. I know what they're doing, and I appreciate it because their heart's in the right place. Because Bray was one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. But the way he's doing it, it's not right. It's like there's a difference with the LWO and the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, Sam. Like, there's nothing much to really say. It's a tribute faction. Like, it's really just not gonna work in the long term. Okay, like in terms of a tribute faction. Without Bray physically there, and it just there was never really established, first of all, a relationship with Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt on TV. So that's why it was never going to work as proper as it should be. And that's why, you're going to have people not really caring for the long-term run. And it's just like, in my opinion, just the booking of how you showcase the Wyatt Six is just not great. And that's why people are not going to care for the long run. It unfortunately has failed. And when I saw them lose, I just couldn't help but laugh. Because it's just like, I kind of knew it was going to be a failure.
I was a little surprised. I thought, and I thought, you've given the Final Testament, the win. So pairing Miz with them is working. I think if you had the Final Testament lose, it'd be like, why is the Miz with them? People don't understand why the Miz is there anyway, but that would have been even more confusing.
It's a lose-lose situation. You just say that.
But yeah, good that the Foul Testament won, but yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. So, speaking of Jackie Redmond did a sit-down interview with CM Punk. Really not much came out of this, really. Anything to add there, Zubair?
It's just like was I was like questioning myself when I did my review. Like, was Punk even in the arena? Like, I understand they may have just pre-taped this, but it's like why not even have it? Like, if you're gonna be building to Netflix and you want people to care, again, they're just on cruise ship right now. They're not gonna bother to make Punk be on TV, unfortunately. So it's like, how is it that impactful to make you care about the show when he's not physically on the show? Like, aside from just a backstage interview.
I thought it was interesting. Sorry. I thought it was interesting she said about what's the favour that Paul Heyman owes you. So it's kind of in the back rear view mirrors, they say, so it's there, but they're not going to tell you yet. So I think that's good. Sam, anything to add about the CM Punk interview?
Well, in my opinion, I think it would have been better if it was done in the ring, because in my opinion, the story of how Seth Rollins was, he turned to a brat, that could have been like, I feel like a good way for Rollins to come out, and then a good way to entertain to like a little brawl where the guys have to back him up.
And then they could have announced it right there, even like, because they are planning Rollins and Punk for Netflix. That immediately could be like, you know what? IMPs come out. You know what? The first Raw on Netflix, we're gonna have it big. The first time in how many years? It's gonna be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. You build it to that, perfect.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Sorry,
I feel like I was just saying, I agree. I feel like that should have been in the ring, and then Rollins could have came out, got to a little fight. Adam Pearce comes out and says, "I'm making this big. It's CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and that is official." I feel that would have been big better than just be like, "Okay, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, guys, on Netflix." Thanks, guys.
So that's Adam Pearce's catchphrase. It's official. Oh, it's not exactly if you smell the Rock is cooking, is it? Anyway, speaking of confusion, Dakota Kai took the L to Liv Morgan, which does nothing for Dakota Kai going forward in the women's IC title tournament. You could have done a DQ finish easily.
I have a gut feeling she's going to get released soon. Dakota Kai.
I think she's one of those that could win the entire thing. So I don't think she gets released. But
I'm a little intrigued with Sam over here. Like, what makes you think that? Because
it's not because she's not bad talented. It's just that, in my opinion, there's no like room for her.
And like, would you argue is because there's like she barely gets a reaction? You would say.
Probably, yeah.
I agree with you, and I honestly think that if let me tell you this, and I think Ricky can agree, or if not, unfortunately, we have this is the problem with I have to say with the current regime of WWE. They have their favorites. Unfortunately, Dakota Kai is one of the favorites of Triple H, especially with Road Dogg. With Road Dogg, who's working backstage with WWE, he's like a big Dakota Kai guy. So unfortunately, you won't really see, like, what I mean by fortunate, it won't be fair to everybody. Unfortunately, Dakota Kai is gonna not be like released anytime soon, and that's just how it is. So
yeah, it's just that it might be better for her because she's, like you said, she's not getting reaction, one, and two, I feel like there's bigger stars out there currently than Dakota Kai. I mean, look how much star power Raquel has compared to Dakota.
Not getting a reaction, that's most of the roster. So
it is most of the roster. That's why, like, if I would, in the perfect world, I would release everybody. I'm just kidding. But like in the end of the day, like Dakota Kai, she really is one of those people who really doesn't get a reaction compared to a lot of people in a consistent basis. And the fact that they're just pushing her now, it's just a joke. But again, I do think on what I would where Ricky has pointed out, it does seem like she's going to be one of the key people to win the IC title, the women's IC title, because again, she is one of the favorites, especially backstage.
What are your thoughts on losing to Liv? Do you think? Do you agree with me? It does nothing for her.
I mean, there's nothing for her, but it's like I don't really care in the end of the day. And honestly, but again, it's a lose-lose situation. Like, what are you gonna do with if Liv loses? That doesn't make her look good too when she's facing Io. So you lose. It's a
Could have done
lose-lose
it.
situation.
DQ finish. No one's really winning. No one's really losing.
See, that's the problem with like the modern wrestling world. People don't like no DQ. They don't like DQ finishes because get it? Like we did that a bunch of times in the PG era. We did this a bunch of times in the Rootless and Attitude era. And then you got these marquee fans that complain they want clean cut, good matches with no stories. That's the
Fair
problem.
enough. Speaking of the man himself, Seth freaking Rollins, out he comes. Sami Zayn followed. This just to me was like, I want something to happen here. It's just like they're just wasting TV time. But it did lead to Drew taking out Sammy. They got the match at Saturday Night's main event. So I'll get your thoughts on that in a second. But also the next match was triple threat action. Lyra Valkyria, Selena Vega, Ivy Nile. Zelina and Ivy, another two people that should go on and win the women's IC title. It was Lyra Valkyria. Okay. Again, she gets not used to when talking about no reaction. She gets barely any reaction.
I think Lyra's another one of those like favorites backstage ordeal. I bet.
Yeah. Not just that. It's funny to me. Like they never capitalize on Lyra Valkyria. That's the thing. Like they bring in so many. We can agree with this. There's so many people on this roster. There's so many people, and it's like when you bring so many people from NXT, they're gonna just be lost in the shuffle. Like they literally brought Lyra Valkyria, and already now they're forgotten her. They just for some reason showcasing her now because of this IC tournament stuff. Like they never capitalized on her. Like when they brought her up and how she was like Becky Lynch's lackey and whatever. So it's like
for those that check main event results, I'm probably one of the very few in the world. But she wins on main event. Ooh, that's a win for her. It's a win, but it means nothing. But yes, Sam, your thoughts on the whole Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn stuff, and Lyra Valkyrie advancing to the quarterfinals, is it now, or semifinals? I don't know.
Well, the women's, it's like, okay, whatever. But the Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Drew ordeal, I'm kind of with you. Nothing happened, really. Yeah. Like, two good guys saying, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, Drew comes in. I feel like it should have been different. You know, because I think there was Seth, they're going this heel direction. What if Seth and Drew went backstage and we didn't know about it? Oh, it was a setup.
Yeah, I mean, again, the perfect. I am right there with you, Sam. What they could easily done, like it's funny. They like to say how they, there's little Easter eggs. Like they like that's a new term that a lot of these wrestling fans are saying. Like they're doing these Easter eggs. Maybe actually show a little Easter egg, like maybe them interacting with each other. Actually like something where like, oh, we see in 1 second for some reason McIntyre and Drew. They're like with each other for 1 second. It's just the littlest things they could have done, and they're doing it with people.
Hint that even though he's probably not okay. So who's the heel for? So hint that heel turn because who's the heel for January 6th? Rollins, Punk, the both face. Okay, that never really worked, but okay.
Unless Rollins turns heel the same night, unless they do like some sort of not saying a double turn. Well, that's like on that night he actually turns heel. Then what we can do.
Was he? So he faced Logan. So when did he turn face? He faced Logan Paul at Mania last year. Was he face before then? He hasn't been face long. So
I think he was that's the weird thing with Rollins when I was questioning myself. Like, how did Rollins turn babyface? I was so confused right off the bat when his current babyface turn started. I was like confused at first. Like, is he?
I understood it because it was kind of like The Rock back in the day when he was turning heel because he was brought in as a babyface, but the crowd chanting, die, Rocky sucks. So guess what? He gave them what they wanted. Seth Rollins. Kind of similar, except it was the opposite. Meant to be a heel, but the crowd loved him so much, and they sang his song. Well, let's give them what they want. And sure enough, they just made it through the audience.
So the fans sing along. Let's just turn him face because the fans are turning him face. Okay.
In retrospect, yes.
Speaking of no longer faces, but certainly heel, the New Day, they came out to be greeted by Dominic Mysterio type heat. Fans out hate Kofi. People beloved Kofi for years, and now they generally, and that wasn't piped in noise, crowd noise. People that were there put up yeah. People that were there put up videos on Facebook and said it was actually like that. So yeah, New Day hated now. I felt what Woods did backstage was just to get heat. He stole the camera. Was that like this was just to make the crowd boo? But okay. And so I'll get your thoughts on that in a second. But also your main event, as discussed earlier, an anything goes match. Rhea Ripley over Raquel Rodriguez. Okay. Rating. Bronze plus, and I'm being generous there. Zubair, your thoughts on the New Day stuff? Raquel losing to Rhea and the rating for Raw.
All right. So with the New Day, again, I do think it's great they're getting heat. It's just I feel like, in my opinion, they failed on capitalizing the heat they got from last week, where they never really explained. You know, again, they kind of falsely advertised, like, "Oh, we're gonna explain our actions with why we did what we did to Big E and whatever." They never explained, and it just really like they lost time. To me, it was very awkward. I feel like maybe because they lost a bit of time, they're running out of time for the show. So you could tell they were running out of time a little bit for the show because that's how they started the match with unless it was planned. I don't know, but it seemed like they were definitely running out of time. It's like they can't even book a 2-hour show anymore with Monday Night Raw. But regardless, to me that segment was kind of awkward. It's like a little letdown compared to last week. The main event, it was okay. You know, it's an anything goes match. It's just, to me, they do the typical. It's like, get it? We want tables. It's so repetitive, in my opinion. I mean, I love a table spot as the next guy. You know, who doesn't love table spots? But it's just so repetitive. You know what I mean? But other than that, match was fine, whatever. But like, in the end of the day, like I said in my review, like it's whatever. It's just they wanted to try to like showcase, get it, it's the women's wrestling main event thing. What a history making moment, blah blah blah. And other than that, there's not in terms of a rating. I don't rate shows. I just say if they're good or bad or whatever. I'm not Dave Meltzer, but I'll honestly give this like a 2 out of 10. I'm very negative. I'm sorry.
I'm not Dave Meltzer, but I just like to rate shows because, yeah. Sam, your thoughts on the New Day coming out and, yeah, the main event of the evening and the rating?
Well, the New Day turning heel, I think it's a good idea. I'm actually intrigued by it. I'm not going to lie, but they did it wrong. They did it wrong completely. In my opinion, they should have capitalized on Xavier and made him heel, and then give Xavier a chance. However,
sorry, Sam.
Now your main event, it wasn't but I think the wrong person won.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I feel like what I'm seeing with Liv and Raquel is the female version of Shawn Michaels and Diesel when they were together. Mm-hmm. So let's build Raquel like Diesel.
I agree.
I think it'd be kind of cool.
I agree.
But if you had Raquel winning on Raw, doesn't that stop Rhea's momentum going for the title? Probably. What happened at Saturday night's main event was whatever. But anyway, what happened at Saturday night's main event? I think they do leave Rhea January 6th, first Raw, and I think Rhea wins the title back. So would Raquel winning now stop the momentum, Sam?
It would probably, but I also think, as much as I like Mommy, I think Rhea's time has come. I think it's time to build Liv and Raquel.
True, yes, and this is throw it at the wall and see what sticks, because it's pairing Raquel with the Judgment Day hasn't really worked. Why is she even there? But they want to at the same time push Rhea. Can't do both. Hey, but your rating for Raw, I give it a bronze plus. What's your rating?
I'll say bronze plus.
So Tuesday, for me, the show of the week, N to the X to the T, came out with the Iron Survivor Challenge winner. Julia coming on out, followed by Roxanne Perez, followed by Cora Jade. The attacks, Julia, out comes Kalani George to make the save. Yeah, cool way to start. Your first match was Wesley Javon Evans. Wesley taking the loss here. I like Javon, but Wes's heel turn really isn't going to plan. But okay. Sam, your thoughts on the opening of NXT and Javon going over Wesley?
Well, when Wesley turned heel, I actually saw a little bit of this. Now it's kind of interesting. Not as much anymore.
It was a shocker when he turned on the Rascals. What are they called? Zachary Wentz and I forget what's the other guy called in the Rascals? I don't know. But he turned on those. I was like, oh, now it's. But so yeah, sorry Sam, go on. What did you think of the opening of NXT? Julie coming out, Kalani Jordan making the save.
I didn't watch that really.
Fair enough. Zube, your thoughts of the opening and Wesley taking the loss to Javon Evans?
All right, before that, I want to get a little off topic. So we're actually rating shows based on like coins.
I've had many, kind of, it's a pause, but I've had many
I wish I knew. All right, but
I've had many rating systems on here. I've done numbers from 1 to 10. I've done letter grades A, B, C, D. Star rate. I've done like Dave Meltzer. I've done stars. This year it's colors, so bronze to gold. Next year I'm going to completely change it. It'll be from jobber to main event. So like just a different rating every year. Try and make it original.
I think that's pretty cool of you. I'm not gonna lie. But going by the next year's rating, I'm gonna just go on to say that Raw to me was a bit jobberish. But I would put rating maybe a D-. Anyways, so for NXT, I saw a little bit of it. So what I usually do on Tuesdays is I watch a little bit of NXT if I'm not going to but then I'll go to the gym. It's one of my gym days. But if I don't go to the gym like on a specific week, I'll try to watch the full show. What I saw on NXT was one of that. It's just whatever, It just really you scroll by it. But in regards of Wesley, that's the thing, man. Like when you do something like a guy like Wesley, turning him heel, and you're not really capitalizing on it. Like again, this is like same thing. It's the same deal. You have Wesley turning heel. You have Rich Holland turning heel. Not gonna act like a big Rich Holland guy, but like you when you do a turn, it should indicate they're gonna do something big. They're gonna lead on to bigger pastures or whatever. Unfortunately, you're not doing anything with them, or you're failing to utilize their whole momentum of turning heel, babyface, whatever the heck. And it's just like, what is the point of all that? It's like, and also that's a problem when you have a lot of people on the roster. They get lost in the shuffle eventually. So Wesley, you can say that eventually he's going to get lost in the shuffle, and he's not going to really benefit much from this heel turn, unfortunately.
I completely agree with all of that, really. So of course, Rich Holland being from my home country, in this country, obviously I like Rich Holland, but I didn't think he was going to win a deadline. I wasn't shocked he lost. But yeah, where do they go now with him? Anyway, in tag team action, Hank and Tank, honk, Hank Walker, Tank Ledger over Tyson DePont and Tyreek Igwe. The biggest story about this, and this is what I like about NXT, everybody gets a push, everybody gets a storyline. You could be Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DePont, or you could be Trick Williams, and you're getting a storyline. That's what's so good about NXT. So kind of what you said about like the Attitude Era, in the Attitude Era, everybody got a push, didn't they? From Kai and Ty to The Rock, from Val Venus to Stone Cold, everybody had something. So kind of like NXT does.
But like, keep in mind though, like, I'm sorry, Ricky, but like, here's the thing though, like, keep in mind with like what I saw with that tag match is that. And this is like the problem with WWE. They're ripping off kind of the same story. Like they were doing the same thing. Like let's be honest here. As much as I like the New Day turning heel, they're doing the same storyline where like tag teams breaking up. It's the same typical thing, and they're doing like the same type of story that like 3 times right now in the current WWE. We just saw the New Day turn heel. Now we see the DIY turning heel. You know, they're basically kind of being so parallel with their storylines. It's like there's nothing really original. Sure, they may have their own storylines, but like they're very parallel to what's already going on, like in other shows like Raw and SmackDown. So that's like my little problem with this tag match with that other team, which I honestly don't even know they were a tag team. Not the people who won, the Hank and Ledger. Which I will say I do like that tag. I like the dynamic of them. I think that's promising. But the team where like the guys who lost, I don't get why. Like I don't get the appeal of them, and I don't get like really we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the whole typical dissension with the tag team scenario, just like we're doing with the New Day, just like we're doing with DIY. It's the same thing.
So as you said, you didn't know they were a tag team. I suppose that was kind of the point. They're gonna get a storyline. It's not going to be the main event of NXT, and they're going to be main eventing pay-per-views or any premier live events. But it's something. It's starting at something. And like I said, that's what I like about NXT. You could be Eddie Thorpe, or you could be Trick Williams. You could be. I can't even think of like anybody. Or a Menster, or you could be Roxanne Perez, and everybody gets some sort of storyline, however big or small that is. So that's what I like about NXT. So I'll get your thoughts on the tag match. And you're making a lot of noise there, Sam. I don't know what's going on if you're having a Royal Rumble yourself, but I'll get your thoughts on the tag team match in a second, as well as Obafemi, who I'm a big fan of, and I think he takes the title.
I agree.
January 7th, it'll be after Raw, won't it? January 7th. But yeah, so Obafemi came on out. Trick Williams did. And now they say, I like this. Eddie Thorpe came out, and he's got a match next week because it was revealed at the end of NXT. He took himself out to get a title shot. I didn't have to go through, like he said, 25 minutes of hell in the Iron Survivor. That's smart for him. Not going to win next week, but still smart.
But then, like, okay, if it's like, yeah, smart, but then, like, what's going to come after that? Like, because, like, then, like, such a genius idea of that, and you're not going to do anything with him? To me, that's, like, a little bit of a you know, but unless, if, like, the whole idea is that you're going to keep him in the main event, then, okay, sure, he can take the loss. But just, like, to me, with a genius idea, I will say, that's something I like. I like the genius approach of that ending. But, like, it's wasted. You know what I mean?
It is what it is. People were saying The Rock's coming in because I think that was it. Well, I said what the internet was saying because Ava got took out by Eddie Thorpe, and people were saying, okay, The Rock's turning up to NXT. It looks like he's, unless they do it January 7th, but because they're in LA, the same place as Raw, so they could do it there, but I doubt it very much. Anyway,
Ricky, he's not going to be on NXT. I hate to break it to you. Rock
Like I
is-
said, I doubt it very much. I mean, we were totally shocked. And you want to talk about ratings, Pop? There you go. Get the
I
Rock
mean,
on.
I
But
agree with you. It'd be a surprise, but like, it would. They're not gonna do that. Especially like, think about it. The Rock is a heel. He's not gonna go after another heel. You know what I mean?
true. Yes. So, Sam, your thoughts of Hank and Tank winning and the Obafemi, Trick Williams, Eddie Thorpe thing?
It was all right. Nothing special.
And your thoughts on okay, well, let's just move on then, as I'm getting quite warm in this Santa hat. I'll just take it off for a second. Fatal influence over Gigi Dolan, Tim Paxley. Gigi Dolan taking a loss. I know she didn't get pinned, but taking a loss already. Okay. And then this brought out Shotzi. So Shotzi's back and didn't make a return on SmackDown, but on NXT, which I think is good because you would have been lost in the shuffle on SmackDown. So for me, that's good. And you had Ethan Page coming up short against Tony D'Angelo. These for the North American Championship, these random just booked on the night North American title matches are just okay, right? You know, Tony's not going to lose because it's not booked properly, but. So, Sam, your thoughts on Tony D'Angelo, Ethan Page, and fatal influence over Gigi Dolan, St. Paxley, and Shotzi returning to NXT?
I don't have much thoughts on the NXT, but Shotzi returning to NXT, I think you're right. She would have gone back to SmackDown. It would have been a loss in the shuffle. Been another Dakota Kai, maybe we'd get a reaction, though, if she got on. But I think that if they do this right with Shotzi, they could build a star.
I think
if she gets the right character.
Sorry. On the main roster would have been she returned, tag team match next week, she wins, and then nothing. So yeah, lost in the shuffle. Your quick thoughts on these random just booked on the night North American title matches, Sam?
Yeah, like that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Zuba, your thoughts on all of that then? So, fatal influence over GG and Tim Paxley, Shotzi returning to NXT, and yeah, Tony D'Angelo, Ethan Page.
So I do agree that Shotzi going to NXT would be better for her, but it just feels like it's like a demotion. You know, that's like so much for like you're moving up to the main roster, but then you're demoted back to NXT. You know what I mean? It's a big demotion, you know, but it's good for her. You know, like it's probably better for her in terms of like how much attention she'll get. She'll definitely get more attention staying on NXT for a little bit. I didn't really care for the match. Around this time, I was going to the gym regardless, so I wouldn't know much about it, nor do I really care to be intrigued of. And other than that, the whole Tony D match, I mean, I like Tony D. I'm happy he wins, but it's like I don't really care for that match. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember. Like, I don't care.
I like what came out of the match, and that's Ethan Page doubting himself, so that is something to follow. So I like that. The match itself was,
Wait,
like
so he's
Sam
doubting
said.
himself? Wait, what was it? Doubting himself? So basically, it's the same character as Gunter right now?
He said after the match, he said, I'm all ego. They caught up with him after the match, and he said, I'm all ego. But I'm not really. If I can't even win the North American Championship, I might as well quit. And they just walked off. So it's something to follow. So
they're literally, again, like I was talking about the whole tag team breakups, they're just doing parallel storylines.
I suppose, yeah. Gunther never said he was doubting himself, but yes. And
Oh my god.
And your main event for NXT Women's Tag Team Action saw Cora Jade finally get a win, her first win since returning. But her and Roxanne Perez knocked off Julia and Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan, of course, taking the pain. Yes, Corey J. She'd lost it. She's returning. She lost at Halloween Havoc. She lost on Raw. She got pinned in the Fatal 4-Way. Well, this week she won. Good. I liked NXT. I'll say silver for NXT. Zube, your thoughts on the main event if you watched it and your rating for it?
I thought it was. I don't know. I guess I read the results wrong. I guess I thought Julia's team won, but okay, so that's a little surprise to me. But I'm happy then because like constantly having Cora Jade lose is just like not a good thing. Same thing with Roxanne, especially when she's a champion. So I'm happy to know that they won, unless if I just forgot about it. So that's a good thing they won. But again, didn't see the match. But again, what I did saw was the result was the closing segment. I did see that, and I thought, yeah, it was genius. But it's like at the same time, I don't really care. I don't even like who is Eddie Trump or Trump or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. I pronounced his name wrong supposedly. I don't know who he is. It's like they're pushing a guy who no one really knows, and maybe you may know him, but like again, like why should I really care? It's my opinion. But again, like I'm just looking forward to seeing Obafemi win because I know Obafemi is gonna be the one eventually taking Trick. I could definitely see that. And Obafemi, I'm a big fan. I'm not gonna lie about that.
With Eddie Thorpe, unless you okay, again, if you check the level up results, I'm probably one of the very few. But he's done a lot of level up, and unless you're an avid NXT watcher, then yeah, you're probably not going to know who he is. He's not on every. Well, he's been on every week lately, but
see, lately that's not a good thing. It shouldn't be lately. You should be like consistent. But like, what are you doing, bro? You're really watching those level up and main events? Come on, dude.
No, I check the results. I don't watch main event or level up. I just check the results.
Come on, man.
I think level up is. I like level up because people are getting a push. Getting a push up, yeah. That level up is a good show, results wise, but
I mean, but I feel like honestly, I feel like, bro, like you are absolutely like wasting your time doing that. You know, and then not like it's just like, bro, watch something else. Watch a retro show.
Like I said, I don't watch main event and level up. It's just a quick 2 minute. What were the results? Okay, that's what it was.
Okay, I mean, it's your
because otherwise you miss things like the women's IC title being announced. Not that it was like it's not like major news, but yeah. Sam, your thoughts on the main event of NXT and your rating for it?
I would say bronze, actually, like bronze plus. And I'll have to say that the match was decent.
So I put another show that you probably don't watch, Zubair. I don't know if you've got X, but Speed. It's only on for 3 minutes. I'm all the way, and I don't even watch a full 3 minute match. I just zoom Speed through it just to see who wins. So on Speed, Michin over Avi Nile. I like the push that Avi Nile that Michin is getting. Yeah, cool. Silver. I like Michin getting a push. So on to Smacky D's, onto SmackDown that had Jimmy Uso coming on out and cutting one of the most bizarre promos ever, but I was like, what's he saying? Basically, 2025 you're going to be big for him. Drew McIntyre clocked him with a Claymore. Okay. Michin over Tiffany Stratton, obviously advancing to the finals. But what happened at Saturday night's main event, which we'll go over in a second here. Yeah, cool. Michin, I was very 50-50 about who should have won. Michin or Chelsea Green. I can't do the announcements. Yeah, cool. So, Sam, your thoughts on the opening with Jimmy Uso and Drew and Michin going over Tiffany as you're now in the dark and turning to John Cena?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to fix that right now.
Okay.
Except sometimes on a computer. So I'm actually happy because I think Mi Chin does deserve a push, and she does deserve to get maybe a title. I know she didn't, but I hope one day she does. Because when she was with the OC, I thought, oh no, this ain't going to be good. Then she got lost in the shuffle, but then once she started picking herself up, I was like, oh, okay, maybe we got something here.
And the thoughts of the opening with Jimmy Uso and Drew McIntyre.
It's okay. I mean, I think what's going to happen with the Usos is it's going to be a Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy situation. Jey Uso's going to go here. Jimmy's going to be here.
It was just I thought it was just a weird, like, I don't know what Jimmy Uso was, I know the words he was saying, it was like, what? Like, it just, SmackDown, I don't know if it was pre-taped, but it certainly had that pre-taped feeling of just, you heard a pop, but the crowd was just sat there, and Jimmy Uso saying, we should respect our tribal chief, and we all love Roman Reigns, and 2025, it sounded like he was drunk. 2025 is going to be good for me, and clocked. Play more. Zubair, your thoughts on Jimmy Uso and Drew and Michin advancing to the finals?
Opening was okay. Not bad, but not like great. It's fine for what it was. It's I mean, I will say it was nice to see McIntyre on SmackDown. That's definitely, again, the whole idea. Again, this is why I wish, like, if they're gonna do this whole idea of, like, this shake up whatever they're trying to do, in my opinion, there's no need for a brand split. Absolutely no need for a brand split, especially when you're going on Netflix. The goal should be you should make both shows must see as you can, have everybody on Raw and on SmackDown, so you have the idea, you have consistency and must see TV for both Netflix and SmackDown, especially when you're having on like these unique entities of TV and streaming. McIntyre being on SmackDown definitely helps it. Just like his presence and his star power. Definitely a guy that should be treated as a big star. Definitely cool seeing him. It's just, again, the whole idea, like, I guess what they're doing is they're based off the feud of CM Punk and him. He's going more focused with the bloodline because he hates the bloodline. He hates like that. The two things that collided together. He's gonna try just go after them. Fine. It's fine. It's just, I kind of feel it may be a bit lazy, and it's like you kind of had that issue being done before with Jay, but now that he's gonna go after everybody, it's just like it's kind of like repeating what you did before, like expanding it, which okay, whatever. I mean, at least there's a story to hold out on that, so I don't mind the opener. In terms of Jimmy becoming somebody, I totally get what Sam is saying. Little side note, like a little bit off topic, it's just a darn shame, like seeing like Matt Hardy, like when he came back to WWE with Jeff in 2017, and just how sadly far down they have, based on the popularity of that broken gimmick and whatever. It just is a darn shame, and definitely the broken gimmick helped Matt Hardy to be the big star he eventually became. Like people love Jeff Hardy more so than Matt, and then eventually Matt Hardy became like, wow, I love Matt Hardy even more than Jeff. It just is a darn shame what happened since then. They were never able to really capitalize that in WWE, and unfortunately they're just in TNA doing typical Hardy shit, which is okay. It would be nice that if the Hardys were still, if they're still big part of wrestling, it would be nice they were showcased in a bigger way instead of just in TNA. I understand it gives TNA that little unique intriguement, but it is what it is. But going back to, again, what's going on right now, I totally agree with Jimmy. Like with Jimmy, he sadly is not going to be as big as his brother. It's that little scenario. It's just a darn shame. Like no one wants that. That's also an issue when you separate tag teams. Like no one wants to be a Jannetty. Like unfortunately, Jimmy Uso is kind of so much of a Jannetty, and that's not what you want to be. But that's just how it is. As for the the first match was it Michin, right?
Meekin Tifty Stratton.
My chin, your chin, everyone's chin. With in terms of my chin. I mean, you guys may like her or not. It's just the thing is they never really showcased her to make me really intrigued of her. Like, she just shows up. I understand. Like, I know who she was. Like, she was in TNA and NXT, and then, but now all of a sudden I'm supposed to care about when they barely used her, you know, and I'm not. I don't really care for her personally, but like whatever, you know. If people like her, fine. It's just again the lack of intriguement of showcasing her properly, and now all of a sudden showcasing her just because you have a tournament going on, then whatever, and it's gonna be a good match or whatever. Like fine. I mean, good for her, but it's just like you cost like Tiffany Stratton, who's Mrs. Money in the Bank. I understand that, but that's just the whole deal. Like what WWE thought, like you can have a Miss Money in the Bank lose, but like again, you're having her stock value lowered by having her lose. And I understand, like, why would you have someone like her win, you know, that when she's Mrs. Money in Bank? Again, I mean, why not? Like, why not have her win? Especially when, like, why not have her win? Because again, when you have her as the first inaugural, like, or at least being a part of the main event as the first inaugural, whatever the hell I forgot, inaugural,
Inaugural.
inaugural women's U.S. champion, whatever the heck they're doing. Again, and then eventually maybe she loses to somebody. Immediately she can go after that. Immediately could lead to a story. Maybe Nia Jax cost her the, you know, once she wins the U.S. title, she loses this to somebody. Maybe it could be my chin or your chin, whatever. It could be that, and then eventually that makes her even more angry to push to want to cash in the Money in the Bank. And then that's again the whole idea of a mid-card title is to be the stepping stone for the world title. Easily something like that, you know? But again, I think that it's great that you have somebody like Chelsea, like also in the tournament, and she's going to finals. Definitely one of great picks to do. So there you go. I mean, whatever, you know, at least I think in the end of the day, the tournament worked out to like at least somebody who's talented won. So there you go.
So Carmelo Hayes had his big mystery opponent. People were saying, is it Trick Williams? Could it have even been Penta? Is he mysteriously signed with WWE, and was it him? No, it was Braun Strowman that immediately squashed Carmelo. That meant nothing because the last person Carmelo beat was Andrade. He went 50-50 with. This meant nothing for anybody. This is just getting Braun onto Braun returning after an injury and getting him on SmackDown. You then had LA Knight, taking on Solo Sikoa, winning by DQ. Neither guy looks weak here. My only takeaway from this is Solo's back into the main mid-card thing. Mid-card section, segment, call it what you like. No. See, Solo and also no. So there. Okay, let's reverse here. Well, we also find out January 6th, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Tribal Combat for the Ulafala. And so, how does losing to LA Knight, although beat DQ, preparing for that? Make it make sense. Anyway, Sam, we'll come to you first. Your thoughts on Braun squashing Carmelo and LA Knight defeating Solo Sikoa?
Honestly, I think Braun Strowman being back is exciting. I just hope they capitalize on it. But LA Knight defeating Solo, I'm not for sure, because if you're going to try to build Roman versus Solo, Solo needs to be stronger than LA Knight. As much as I love LA Knight, it just needs to be the way, because that makes more sense in my opinion.
I'm going to get a very quick prediction out to you. January 6th, Raw. First Raw on Netflix. Is it Roman Reigns or is it Solo Sikoa going home with that Ula Fowler? Your pick is?
I got to go with the big dog, or the tribal chief, my tribal chief. Our tribal chief,
He hasn't been
Roman
the
Reigns.
big dog for like 5 years, is it? Yeah. There's a big dog at Mania
Yeah,
35 in the
the worst.
5 years.
We're not gonna get that, Roman. If we get that, Roman, we're screwed.
We get the big dog Roman. Let's turn our TVs off now and never watch ever again. Because there was only bits of Big Dog Roman that was good. Anyway, Zube, your thoughts on? And let me just check my notes again. Braun Strowman squashing Carmelo and LA Knight, I suppose, beating. You could call it. He won the match against Solo.
Well, shout out to our boy Dr. Chris because he broke the news. That I was not surprised to know that Strowman was going to be in the match. But yeah, again, I agree with Sam. Like, it's just the problem is they fail to utilize him as like the monster of all monsters type of deal. And I'm not going to review much because I know what happened next week. Let's just say they do not fulfill what should be doing with Strowman, and kind of blows away what they did on this show. So
Yeah, I try and avoid spoilers as much as I can. So yes,
I think that's why I didn't review what happened. So don't worry. But anyways, yeah, Strowman, he won. I mean, I'm fine with it. I understand this makes Carmelo look weak, but let's be honest, he's been looking very weak this entire year, regardless. So whatever. In terms of the LA Knight win against Solo by the DQ, I mean, yeah, it's a way to keep them strong type of deal. But it's like I feel like instead they should have had Solo face someone else. That way, freaking LA Knight doesn't look weak. Maybe like you could have had Solo face somebody else who could have taken the loss, and he could have won the match. So that would have been fine. And again, I'm not really a big fan of how they went on. It's like also really Apollo Crews is on TV all of a sudden. I mean, you could have easily done that. Maybe have Apollo Crews versus Solo, and Solo just devastatingly beats him. Simple as that. That's what you could have done. You know.
as much as I like Apollo Crews, as much as I want him to get as much TV time as possible, why not? Why he's talented. Makes SmackDown all about Apollo Crews. Why not? But obviously not really. But as much TV time I want him to get, as much as I like him, he's really, really mid-card. And Solo's fighting Apollo Crews probably next week. I presume it's a 6-man tag match next week. I presume. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I've not watched it. I got avoid spoilers as much as I can. But Apollo Crews is really mid-card. Like, whoa.
Yeah, that's why you could have easily just have done that match. That would have been a better sign. I mean, I get it because based on what happened last week, but like, I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, Nakamura should have been involved too. But whatever. But again, like about Apollo Crews, man, they gotta if you want to make him like somewhat something again. Like I think they should have gave him back to Uganda character, like the Uganda character with the accents. It was actually something very good with him, and unfortunately they dropped the ball with it because they decided that why would we do that, and it's racist and whatever. That was literally one of the most appealing things that he was doing in his career to help him, and unfortunately they dropped it. So that was not good.
I think it was very short-lived. Like it worked.
It worked. Yeah.
He thought he was above everybody else. He went on to win the IC title against Big E. Was Big E the champion he beat at Mania 37? I think.
Yeah, it's not sad.
It was very short-lived. So anyway, finishing up SmackDown here. Bailey. Who's Bailey? Who's that? Bailey lost to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green now in the finals. We know what happened there, but we'll go over Saturday night's main event in a second. And then to close out SmackDown, Michael Cole in the ring. Out comes Cody. Owens on the throne. Cody goes to find the wins. They brawl to the ring. There we go. There's SmackDown. Yeah, very, like I said, if it wasn't taped, it felt like it was taped. Very filler. From plus, and that's me being generous again. Hey. I agree very quickly. I agree with Zube. I agree with you. I know you covered SmackDown, and yes, SmackDown just seems to be like, well, here's SmackDown, and Sam gone. Okay, then fair enough.
Let's go. All right.
Oh, you had to go. Okay, give me 1 second. There we go. But yeah, I agree with you that SmackDown seemed to be just, if SmackDown's good, great. Raw, Netflix, that's the focus. And that's not good. I understand it. It's all about making money. I understand Raw, make Raw the focus. You're being paid $5 billion. It's on Netflix, a big platform. Fully understand it, but not everything else should be just secondary.
Yes.
But Sam's gone. I've eliminated him from the Rumble, so it's just us two. Who will headline WrestleMania? Anyway, Zubair, your thoughts on Chelsea Green advancing to the finals and Michael Cole, Kevin Owens, Cody stuff?
Okay, so Chelsea, definitely. I'm surprised that they actually went with Chelsea winning. Because Bailey is like a Triple H person, but I'm very, I that's a positive. Again, they want to go with the heel babyface direction, and so I guess like, it's just I'm just surprised that they actually went with somebody like that's not Triple H favorite. Bailey's a very huge favorite with Triple H and the Smarky fans. So I guess Chelsea Green going on to being part of the women's not U.S. title match. Definitely, I'm happy to see that. I will say, the main event segment. I said this in my SmackDown review. I said a lot of things. It's just really gonna be. I'm just quoting back. It's fine. It's just it's typical. It's predictable. And again, the whole idea when a heel, not heel, let's just say this, the persons who are showcased in the end, they have they stand tall. Normally, it's the typical cliche where the other guy is gonna win. Okay, so that's what they clearly did with Kevin Owens, and I just didn't really like Cody Rhodes' promo. It just sounded too corny, too politic-ish, like him trying to sound like a corny politician, just dumb. And then him just looking like a dumb, like he just looked dumb, just freaking going backstage and immediately getting attacked immediately. Rather should have known that Kevin Owens was probably gonna attack him. It's dumb baby syndrome.
It's meant to be real. We all know wrestling's not real, but the suspension of disbelief. So it's portrayed as real for the 2 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours if it's AW. You're lost in that world of lost in the world of fantasy. And it's meant to be real. So if it's real, I know Owens is going to tap me when I go backstage. Why am I going backstage? Yes, it didn't make sense. Your rating, if you want to give SmackDown a rating.
I don't know. Maybe again. I just thought the show was not very good, so I guess I'll just go like that, or just if it has to be a number rating. Maybe let's go with a letter rating. Let's give it a D-, or maybe even a D+. Maybe I don't know. A D.
Yeah, it was very filler. So before heading into Saturday night's main event, I know you don't watch it, neither do I, but I checked the results. Level up. So
level up. Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about Saturday night main event. Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Laney Reed over Kendall Gray. You don't know who Laney Reed is, neither do I really, but I know that I've seen that you've been rocking up the wins. Cool. And Joe Coffey. So Gallus has really been lost in the shuffle. But Joe Coffey over Keanu Carver. Silver minus. At least it was fresh action. I like fresh matches. So Saturday night's main event. Now for me, it was on YouTube. On YouTube, and this made no sense. How do you expect people to watch it when they can't find it? It was unlisted on YouTube, so I had to settle for the first 10 minutes for Spanish commentary, and then a watch along. Thankfully, there was watch alongs galore, but one of the watch alongs thankfully put in a link and said, "This is where you find it." So that's how I found it. But it was unlisted. Nobody could watch it. So how do they expect people to watch it when they can't find the channel?
So, because like again, like I know in here in America, it was on primetime NBC, but I didn't know what happened. What's going on with the UK? Like, so basically, like what I know, they were supposed to have it on like YouTube for y'all, but they didn't have it on YouTube, or is it
They
unlisted?
did, but the channel was unlisted, so nobody could find it. So unless you were lucky to find the link, you're either watching it in with Spanish commentary or not watching it at all.
Oh wow, okay.
And then you had 10,000 ads, and the ads for me certainly took me out of the match. I just thought another ad, and so Cody, for example, Cody made his entrance, ad. Well, Cody's done a headlock, ad. Here comes Kevin Owens, ad.
I mean, wait a minute. Do you have Peacock? Because I think it was on Peacock also.
No, when we've got the network, for us it would be, still is till January 1st, the network. But
How is the network? Is the network still the same? Compared, because again, we have only Peacock now. How is the network in the UK? Is it the same as it was when it started?
Yeah, the only thing they've put fresh on now is just NXT. That's it. So.
Oh, that's the only thing. Like they don't put it in the pay-per-views there or anything.
Oh yeah, Deadline was on. Yeah.
Oh, what about like what about the pay-per-views like WrestleMania and all that kind of stuff?
Okay. I thought you meant recently. Yeah, all of that is on, but they've announced that January 1st network gone, so now it's just really NXT and that's it.
So you can watch again an old Raw on Netflix. You can watch an old SmackDown. You can watch an old ECW, WCW show too. All the original backstage.
Now, but January 1st be gone. So.
Oh yeah, that's really sad. Yeah.
So I only watched a little bit of the first match, which was Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn. I watched about a couple of minutes of it. For what I saw was okay. Drew McIntyre won. Like I said, I do watch alongs. I said live, push Drew all the way to the title. Give him a match at probably not next month's Saturday Night's main event, but the Rumble. Do not stick him in the Rumble because he's not going to win that. Give him an actual match which he wins. Elimination Chamber the same, Mania the same, and then the story could be because Drew hates the bloodline, he's trying to stop Reigns getting the title, and he does. He beats Reigns and then takes the title off Cody. Whether they do that or not, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But that would take good long-term booking, which WWE isn't the best for. But your thoughts on the opening match, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn?
All right. And speaking of like long-term booking, that's a funny thing. A lot of people like to pretend WWE has long-term booking, or even AEW. That's not true. There's no long-term booking in wrestling nowadays. It's just like let's just say they find reason to say this is long-term booking. It's not true. It's just certain thing happened years ago, and then now they're fighting again. Like that's the long-term booking. That's not true. It's just a stupid excuse. Before I talk about McIntyre and Sammy, I do want to mention though, like I mean I know it's your show, right? But like definitely, I think you should put my name on like Zubair Talk TV on the title. That way you can hopefully get some more viewers.
Oh, sorry. Okay, then. Right, I'll take off the banner then. Right. Yeah. Sorry.
No, because like that way we can.
About that, you mean?
No, I mean by the title of the video. So that way, because when they see like because again,
right.
People can watch this, right? That we hope again, everybody, my viewers. This is me endorsing Ricky here. Ricky's a good guy. Let's hopefully get him some subscribers. All right, people. Anyway,
right, I get what you're saying now, right?
Yeah.
And very quickly, I know you said why wasn't Cena there or Goldberg there? Wanting to do Reigns solo because Saturday Night's main event filler. It came back in 2006 to 8. I don't remember back in the day. I know it came back in 2006 and 2008. I think it was filler then. So, and next month will be filler. But there you are.
You're seeing from the eyes of that. I mean, I honestly think looking back, actually, no, 2006. Okay, the last one they did, which was 2008, that was actually really fillers, unfortunately, and that's why they stopped it.
I think it started. They started off good. You had Hogan on. You had Austin on.
Yeah.
That's. I think they did Cena Edge. I think they did. You had Batista on. You had The Undertaker on.
They did some big
And
matches.
then it very quickly got into filler.
Yeah.
I remember that wasn't it Kane, Eugene, and the Clown? Basically, Kevin Thorne, Big Daddy V, and somebody else was like, "What is this?"
Yeah, and keep in mind it was around that time when, again, like when they were starting to go. Again, keep in mind when I believe when they were doing the Saturday Night Main events, like in 07, again they had a lot of issues going on around that time with the whole Benoit stuff, and also again, like that's when WWE was really like they were so careful, or they didn't know what to do, and plus they were focusing more again with the Raws and Smackdowns, and then had other things to worry about, which is why I didn't see it was just, again, they knew that this was just a little special to do. They didn't treat it as such, like so they stopped caring, because Saturday Night Main Event, from what I remember, from what I've seen when they were doing them from the 80s to the 90s to like 1992, it was treated as a big special to do. Again, it was the pay-per-views, but like it was between the big fours. They treated it as very big because, again, they didn't do pay-per-views like for like each month. And I think that's why, again, they did Saturday Night Main Event this month, because, again, they're not going to do a pay-per-view in December, which I actually am happy about. I think there's no need for a pay-per-view. Why not do a little special on TV? But you got to make it as must-see as you can. Do the biggest matches you can. That's why I even thought myself, if they were to do something like this, they should have done like Cody versus Roman 3 at this show. And will we actually do like a big finish? No, you could always do something like a disqualification, whatever. But again, just the idea of that match happening on this show, again, it gives that big feel that people gonna want to watch this. Because I feel like, in my opinion, less people have not watched this show, especially when you have like things that. And what I know is that because this show was in New York, I'm from New York again. SantaCon was happening. A lot of big venues, even a big NBA game was happening yesterday. They were dealing with such competition, and if you notice by watching the show, and when I rewatched, you notice that they did not say, "Hey, this is a sold out show." They did not say that, because the show clearly was not sold out. I seen the tickets; they did not even sell out this show at all, and that makes me think, man, did a lot of people actually watch this show? So that's what you got to take into account.
When you say about adding Cena, Goldberg, Reigns, Solo, Reigns, Cody,
Yeah.
when I looked back at the show, there was 50 minutes of wrestling and a million ads. I think Cena, Goldberg, really big match would just been wasted. It was just what it was, filler to get to the next whatever. It was just filler. It was really nothing here that I thought, oh, that was brilliant. The triple threat, how it was handled was good, but match quality, all of it was just
Well, again, it's all about time pacing. I think the problem with WWE now is, like, again, they do the matches are. I mean, you say the match, like the show, like in terms of wrestling, is 50 minutes. Again, yes, the ads do take a long, but again, I do feel like the matches are longer than they need to be. Sometimes short matches are okay. It just, again, it's like it just gotta make sense. They do things impactful, and then the match length will not be a problem. I feel like, again, some of these matches went longer than they needed to be, in just my opinion. That way you could have allowed some star power, showcase some things to make this show must see, or they should have done bigger matches that people would have cared for. Just my opinion.
But I suppose when most people couldn't find it, and when they could find it, he greeted with 10,000 ads. Unless you're me and you're doing a watch along and you stick with it, I bet most people were like, "Oh, I'll watch it tomorrow."
Well, again, it's Monday. It's the same issue with Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is 2 hours, but I have a bunch of ads too, so it's like with a big deal. Again, this is a TV special, so it's not. To me, it's not a problem. Like, again, it's like, again, the whole idea is Saturday Night Main Event should be like, it's like, it should be treated like the Night of Champions type of thing. Like, it's a Saturday night special where big matches are happening, big championship matches are happening. I feel like they did not do as much as they should have. That's just my opinion.
But your thoughts on Drew going over Sami Zayn?
Yeah, I mean, it was for the best. I just think Sammy was to win. That would not have been good. And I thought the match was not that bad. It was okay. Actually, I did like how Sammy ran after Drew out right from the start. I liked that. I like what and the match was okay. I just think like when the match came back from commercial, died. It's just like to me, this match should have been more faster paced. It was a bit fast paced, which I liked. It just should have been faster, and I just think like this is the problem with wrestling, and I hope you understand why my problem with it's just like again when you're talking about ads, right? My thing is with wrestling matches, they should not go over an ad. They should probably be over at a short amount of time, at least before the ad, or at least go on for at least one extra ad. That's it. Because that was the beauty of shows back in the day. Why it was good because no match was over an ad. Because again, we live our lives now. The way we live now, we have short attention spans. You know, you gotta go things based on a segment. A match is basically a segment. If you have it go over a commercial, how are you gonna really care after a commercial? So, in all honesty, it's all about good writing and good booking. The match I felt should have been a little bit short, just my opinion. But hey, then it would prove in a bigger. It would have been more impactful, in my opinion. But regardless, the match was fine. I like McIntyre winning; it's a good thing. I just for Saturday Night Main Event worthy. I just felt this was more so for like a Raw match. So
All of them. I don't disagree. All of them. All five were
I mean,
all
to be fair, like this
TV.
would have
Wait, it was. Sorry.
no. I mean, like, but one little point I want to say. Hopefully, you don't forget. I would say this would have been fine for like a Raw card. I think, like, for in terms of a Raw card, this would have been better than a typical Raw. It would have been a better Raw than usual. If this all happened on a Monday Night Raw, then hell yeah.
Well, it was TV. I think some people were going, this is an awful card. You got 3 world title matches, history made with the Women's Europe Championship. Before I saw the match, Zayn, Drew. So, just for the second, pretend I've not watched. So, Sami Zayn, Drew Zayn will be good. So, just for the second, pretend I've not watched it, and I'm kind of reviewing it in the future. And you got Jesse Ventura, so I think that Virtual War special was good, but I think people were saying, well, it's not pay-per-view quality, because it wasn't a pay-per-view. But yes, all of these matches could have been on TV, but it was on TV, because that's what it was.
The idea, though, is, like, again, it's supposed to be a spectacle. It's supposed to be, like, pay-per-view style TV. That's what the idea of Saturday Night Main Events should be. Technically, yes, like Saturday Night Main Event is basically a Monday Night Raw. I get it. But again, the idea of Saturday night is supposed to be a spectacle where it's like the biggest card possible, where you would see at WrestleMania, but instead it's happening Saturday Night. Maybe it's like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Or at least the biggest matches you could do at the time in order to build towards a WrestleMania or a big show like a SummerSlam or Royal Rumble even. That's it all contributes to that. That's what it should have been felt like. But that's what I think what people meant for, like in the difference of Monday Night Raw and Saturday Night Main Event. But I will have to say this, Jesse Ventura, amazing. Great seeing him. Jesse Ventura was really good on this show.
I would imagine next month's Saturday Night's Main Event is going to be the same filler. I don't think you're going to get... It's a week before the Rumble. I don't expect to see massive matches. It'd be like a very predictable card.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to get matches made for the Rumble a week later. So if Cody... We'll get to Cody, but for now, just for now, what I'm saying now, because he's still champion. So if Cody is going to match at the Rumble and Guns are going to match at the Rumble, but they're not losing the Saturday Night's Main Event, so it is what it is.
Unless, like, if they were smart, they would do something Saturday Main Event where they, I mean, again, like, what's the point of having them lose a title right before the Rumble? But again, it gives you intriguement to watch the show. That's why, like, I saw, again, the whole idea of like Tuesdays in Texas. You remember that pay-per-view, this Tuesday in Texas, where they had Undertaker. He won the title at Survivor Series against Hulk Hogan. Immediately, they gave the title back to Hogan to make people care. It's, again, that type of scenario to make you watch. You got to make people want to watch and care. In my opinion, maybe you do something where, like, again, Cody, like, maybe, because what I see what they might do, they might probably do Kevin Owens and Cody again, And if I was, maybe they might as well do it again at the Saturday Night Main Event. But this time Owens does win, and then he loses back to Cody at the Rumble. Like maybe if they were to do that, or they could even do like, if they're gonna do for some reason Raw on Netflix, Cody and Owens, they would probably have that happen, and then Cody wins the title again at the Saturday Night Main Event, and then they have a one last match at the Rumble. That's how you make people kind of care. I know you may not like it, but it's about
if Owens is winning the title, whenever that is, Raw, Saturday Night Main Event, the Rumble, whenever, he needs to hold that title for a while, and Cody gets well away from that title.
I mean, I understand. I don't like Cody, right? I'm not a big Cody fan, but again, it has to make sense, especially because I do feel like what they should do is at WrestleMania, Cody versus Rock. So Cody kind of has to be the champion. So you can always kind of maybe just to give Owens a little bit of his moment, because he did turn heel after all. Have it meaningful, him becoming the champion, and then eventually, he can also get he's gonna have to lose the title to Cody, because I do feel like what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to do Owens versus Orton coming up, especially maybe for WrestleMania. So they gotta build to that.
So very quickly before we move on to the next, but 2 thoughts there. So this is just a very quick thought. You could do Zayn Owens for the title at Mania, because Owens said last week, because Michael Cole said Zayn is with the bloodline, and Owens said we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So that it could be your main event for night one for Mania, perhaps. I buried Cody as much as I can on here, but it's not Cody I dislike, it's the booking. He hasn't been booked as the guy. Everyone his face is mid-card, and just 50-50 booking is the worst. Anyway, Io Sky, Liv Morgan for the title. The only takeaway is that Io looked good in defeat. She didn't get buried here, but very filler. It's Rhea and Liv. Now Rhea comes out. Why didn't Raquel and Liv attack her? They just stood there while she did her entrance. That was odd. I was like, okay. If you see the person coming for your again, it's meant to be real. So if you see the person coming for a championship, I'm attacking that person.
I mean, I agree with that. I will say I don't know if you want me to give my thoughts right now on the match. Again, I'm gonna probably repeat a lot of things I say on my video later on, which I will do a review. And I will shout you out. The second match with I like that Liv, at least this is one of the things I liked about this is that this is actually one of the first times that we saw Liv actually won the title match by herself, which I think that was good, because it gives her credibility. Having her win by herself helps that credibility. I think that's the problem with a lot of champions nowadays, or especially heel champions, they always seem to get help. So I like that it was a little change of that issue, where at least she won by herself, defeating Io. The match wasn't terrible, for a women's match, it was fine. I just that the match should have been a bit shorter, and I just think at least Liv won. That's actually good for her, and it's just again a little match that they could have done on a Raw for a women's title. But again, regardless, it's good for what it is. Not too big though. But for Rhea getting involved, again, Rhea just showing up and they do nothing. I mean, I just felt like what they could have done is should have just done something way grandeur. You want to talk about, Saturday Night Main Event, making there should have been something maybe very impactful. Maybe they could have done something maybe Liv goes to attack Io. That she's gonna devastate her. Maybe do something like what she did to Rhea to get her not being on the show. Maybe what happened to her eye, right? But then that's where you have Rhea coming out, saving Io. And they can build to something like a big moment right there, and then eventually, sets up something for Raw based on that.
I think Rhea wins the title back Raw. January 6th, I can see that happening.
You think that's being setting up, right? You think that's what they're trying to set up, Rhea versus Liv?
And then you have a rematch at either Saturday night's main event or the Rumble. You have a rematch at the Rumble.
It's just like, in my opinion, I don't really want to see another Rhea title win right now, especially because like I do like Liv. I mean, I'm not saying I hate Rhea. I don't. It's just like I don't think like, unless you're gonna do something big, but where does Liv go? I do think like with Liv, in terms of this year, she has proven that she should kind of be the women's champion for right now, and she's doing great. So, but again, like I mean, if she loses the title for a little bit, not a problem. Like, just again, it's all about stories. The beauty of a title, it should be a help to continue a story. It would be definitely a big moment if Rhea wins the title at Netflix and Raw, and then they lose it again. It's just whatever. Again, titles are a prop, regardless of what people think of it. It should be a prop to help tell stories. So I just hope good things to happen.
I can see Rhea going into Mania as champion, but who she faces at Mania, no idea. But let's go into the next match. Triple threat action. If this was your main event for Raw, I wouldn't think... Saturday night's main event wasn't a pit. I think but many people were saying, oh, why are these matches happening? It wasn't. It never has been a pay. When I've been watching, never been a pay-per-view. Always been filler. So if this was your main event of Raw, I wouldn't think, oh no, stick it at Saturday night's main events. Glad it was, but Gunther retaining, as I predicted, pinning Balor protects Priest, and Balor's the reason Priest didn't win. And I usually don't like triple threat matches, but this was good. Like, there's always that third person just there outside, just waiting for their cue, waiting for their spot. But this was good, and it felt like all three men were trying to win.
Yeah, I agree, man. I liked it. I mean, I'm not a big Balor guy. But again, I knew this match would be like this, even though it made no sense to me to add Priest the way they did on Monday night. I just thought like already like the idea of them doing a triple threat would have been a better idea. I am happy. I will say the match became a triple threat because it was actually a good match. I will say that's something I will praise from this show. The match was actually I liked it. To me, this was actually a good match. One of recent best Balor matches. And yeah, I definitely thought this was good. I wouldn't even have a problem. Again, if they were to do this whole thing to make people intrigued, again, I mean, they could have easily had like maybe Damian win, pinning Balor, but Gunther was never pinned, and they could easily set up another match. Like they could do a rematch at the Netflix Gunther Priest 3, or they could even do, you never know, Finn Balor. Again, they could have gone any way they could have with this. They could have, even for what they could have done, because the hatred of Priest and Gunther, they could have had Balor capitalize. I mean, I'm not saying I want to see Balor winning the title, but they could have had Balor winning the title, and then they could have continued that little feud with Priest, but then, losing the title to Gunther. Again, the possibilities are endless. Just to make the ideas of these possibilities could help make the show intriguing. It's all about making the show intriguing, but I don't think like what they did though is enough to make the show intriguing. I just think like this was, again, while I like the match, they played it very safe. You know what I mean? And what I mean by Gunther winning in the end, I do think Gunther, like, if he was to get the title right before Mania, would have been a better option. Like, have him eventually get the title back right before Mania, so that way he can maybe he'll be the one to be the world champion heading to WrestleMania, and he will face John Cena. So,
very quickly, another podcast I watch. I will shout them out. Stash Club Wrestling, they're called.
Okay.
They got an interesting take. Are they bringing Gunther down and making him just feel like everybody else? Because if Gunther was totally unstoppable, Cena's not beating a totally unstoppable Gunther, but you make him feel on a level like everybody else, that's more of a chance Cena's winning. And I thought that was interesting. But Chelsea Green meeting for the women's US title. Chelsea Green winning here. Great. So she's getting a push. It means Papa Niven will be more on TV. That's always good. Yeah, I'm surprised Tiffany didn't try and cash in. Surely she can go after the women's US title. She was in the tournament. Surely she can go after that and cash in should she want. So
I mean, you had Austin Theory
Yeah.
like cashed. I mean, by that logic, Austin Theory cashing on the was it the U.S. title? So
Ugh.
you could have, right? So you could have done stuff that I mean, but again, like I wouldn't want to see her cashing in on this title. Obviously the idea of her cashing and maybe even to live, or obviously the most logical idea of her cashing on Nia would obviously be been better. But again, I would not have a problem if Tiffany was to win as Money in the Bank to win the women's U.S. title. I do think it would have been definitely something to help the title itself, especially when she's guaranteed to be a future women's champion. So I just think that's what the idea should be for whenever you win you're gonna be a mid card champion. It should at least indicate that you are the person that's gonna be like not the main person, but at least secondary to the main person, and also, or at least guaranteed to be a future world champion. So that's what I would do. I would have like at least to help the lineage, the whole inaugural women's United States champion, to help the title itself. It would be nice to help that guaranteed idea that Tiffany Stratton, the first UNES champion, but then eventually she became the women's champion right after. That helps the title itself. That already helps the main idea of a mid card title for the women. Like a little bit intriguing. Well, not intriguement, but at least the honor of the idea.
I do like Chelsea won though, so
I do.
yeah.
I mean, I agree. I like it. Just like I hope they do good things for her. My little problem is they were barely showcasing her. Same thing with Mitchell, but again, at least I will say with Chelsea Green, I do like her, and I think she is talented. She makes chicken salad out of chicken crap. The whole expression. She does the best she can, whatever she's given. So I do think like hopefully she can definitely do well. Hopefully they'll book her right. So yeah, but again, in my opinion, I just you may disagree with it. I don't think they need a mid card title, but if they're gonna do it right, because again they can barely showcase the women with their world titles. Like mid card title will be oversaturation, but like hopefully at least they make the best of it. So hopefully they work out.
I would have better tell one mid card title over both brands. That's what I would have done rather than
Yeah,
one
maybe.
for each show.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe at least like one mid card title, because now they're gonna do the mid card women's intercontinental title. It's like, or at least again, why just again like the whole idea of a U.S. title or the intercontinental title with the women, just create a new title that's exclusive to the women rather than copying the men. They could have just maybe a women's television title. Something.
Or I would have made the both IC and US look different from the men's rather than just the same with a white strap. Like, okay.
That's what I mean.
But I do get why they're doing it. Is to fill out the card, which we'll talk about in news and headlines in a little bit. 2-day, and we'll save this, but 2-day pay-per-views. If that's the future, that's why they're doing this, to fill out the card. But your main event, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, of course. Cody Rhodes retaining. Story became bigger story after the match. Owens a package pile driver on Cody, leading to a third match. Whether that's January 6th or that's the Saturday night's main event next month, or that's the Rumble, wherever, or SmackDown, wherever. Should be January 6th, but let's see where it happens. But yes.
But the thing is, they're like, I don't, you didn't notice this. They didn't show the attack of Kevin Owens attacking Cody after the match. They didn't show it on TV. They showed it as an off TV special, or like behind the scenes.
Because Triple H and see, Triple H totally understands the social media audience. He knows someone's there filming. He knows that's going to go onto social media, make the rounds. People talking about WWE. There you go.
I get it, but like
he understands that.
I get it, but to me, like that's a moment that should be on TV, because what happens on TV matters more. You know what I mean? So having that moment on like just exclusive to network to me was a big mistake. But yeah, okay, we already know that Cody was gonna win. to me the match was whatever. I didn't really care for like I mean, it was similar to the it was similar to the first match they had. I mean, it was a little better. I guess I was a little intrigued because they had the whole typical shenanigans with the referee. So I guess that made the match a little bit exciting. Jesse Ventura on commentary was actually very good. Again, I love Jesse Ventura. I'm happy. Don't tell me you got full more reps than you. Come on, man. Don't tell me it didn't happen. I was there. I was there doing tricep extension, the golf of talking. I'm a frogman, don't you know? My government has lied to me before. But they lied to me when I was in Mayas, eating the good fish. They had good fish, but, they had dermite the feces and the Gulf of talking.
And he's back next for the next month as well.
But I gotta tell you, Ricky, it was great to be there, but I gotta tell you, the match was quite shite. But I mean, not really. But I gotta tell you, it was great to see myself there. It definitely gave me a little bit of boost.
Putting himself over.
But yeah, definitely Jesse Ventura being there was definitely good. It definitely helped the show. It definitely helped the match in terms of the treatment, in my opinion. It felt good seeing I think that made the match, because we barely see a commentator now who's like a color commentator being a heel. So I like that very much. So that helped the match to me. So the match, I mean, while it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be, I was not really excited for the match regardless, but I thought it made the match better. It just definitely means if they're gonna do another match, it's gotta be different stipulation, because I'm not a fan of the idea of matches where there's the same match. If you're gonna do a rematch of a match, do a different stipulation. That's what I'm all about, because then you're just doing the same match.
Graves and Barrett, he tried to heal. Well, Barrett tries to heal it up as much as you can on Raw, but
I just think the Joe Testatore, or Joe Testosterone, I will call him, Mr. Joe Testosterone, who has more testosterone than Michael Cole.
True, but I like Michael Cole though. So
I mean, I know whatever, but I'm just saying, but Joe Testosterone, he doesn't really have that wrestling voice. That would be or that commentary voice. That's just the problem.
But my rating for Saturday night's main event. I like that Chelsea won. I like that Demi was protected, and Io Sky looks good in defeat. So I'll say, purely based on that, Silver. What's your rating?
So by logic, you kind of, while in filler, you thought the show was still fine. So right,
the results, the actual show. Okay, the results afterwards. Chelsea Green winning, cool. Io Sky looks good in defeat, and Damien Priest got protected. So more of the results rather than match quality. The match quality, bronze. Nothing was really stood out. Nothing was really good. But more of the results later on.
Well, based on the matches, okay, definitely to me the match of the night was the triple threat. In terms of definitely in terms of the quality and of the matches and the everything, in the results and the what they did, I mean, I'll say the show was okay. I'll go on it. I mean, I'm surprised the show was better than I expected, but I just didn't think they didn't live up to the idea of what Saturday Night Main Event should be. In terms of what they did, it was okay. What they did in the end result, it was okay. It was okay for if you're home to want to watch wrestling, it's okay for a Saturday night. But I just don't think they did it as best as they could be. So that's why I do agree. It does feel like a bit filler, but at the end of the day, it was okay. Oh yeah, and obviously it was very cool to see the Winged Eagle title again. It was cool to see Cody.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
That was
cool. I've got a kids one, a kiddie belt one. Yeah. Cody wants to bring that back, but yeah, I don't think you. Yeah, that was cool. That was the only cool thing really about the match.
Yeah, I mean, but come on, can we not talk about what Michael Cole messing up his line, the Winged Eagle Championship? Come on, Michael, come on.
I didn't catch that because I do my own commentary on my watch along as I try and rather because rather than just sitting there and going, that was good, that was bad, I try and do commentary for the match as well. So if I sometimes catch what the commentators say, but I'm talking over it. So
yeah, it's just like come on, man, the return of the winged eagle. A moment like that, and you're messing up the your commentary for that. Like, and I understand it happens. I understand commentators make mistakes all the time. I mean, again, it's not nobody's perfect, but it's like with Michael Cole, he messes up a lot of things. Like since beginning his entire commentary career, he always like messes up his wording lots of times. And to me, my honest opinion, I think he's very overrated by the people. And the reason why people praise him now is because it's like the people who haven't watched wrestling from back in the day. It's these new generation, they're praising him. I don't hate Michael Cole, like the person, or I don't hate, like, I think like there was a time when he was a good commentator when he was like maybe like years ago, but I just think like it's like people are just praising him because it's like, get it. I started watching when, 2009, when wrestling started to not be as good as it used to be, with the PG era and stuff like that. But I will say this: he has improved because, the lack of McMahon being on his. I mean, that's an improvement. But I just think like his voice sometimes is very raspy. Hey, look, yeah, hi, I'm like, I'm having fun. Look, I caught him.
He's allowed to call the match now and giving his opinions. So I think that's the difference, rather than Vince saying, say this. Don't have any opinions on the match. Just call the moves.
That's a positive, yeah.
But let me play one ad here, then we'll get into the final segment here. So for anybody watching now or later on, where to and me, follow me, all of that, here is that info.
To never miss a second, never miss an upload, never miss anything I do, and never miss when I go live doing Watch Parties and my brand new podcast, live Wednesday nights at 8 p.m, the Reigning Rock Podcast. Add me on Facebook, Ricky J. Pate. Whilst there, search on Facebook, WWA World Wrestling Alliance. Follow me on X at Ricky Goldmans. Head over to Pro Wrestling Tees and search Goldmans1 and head over to my YouTube channel. Search, like, and subscribe to the People's Wrestling Channel. That once again, the People's Wrestling Channel.
That is right. And me, follow me, all of that. Check out my socials as the graphic on screen says right now. You heard there Wednesdays. Of course, it isn't. My podcast is right now. On Saturdays and Sundays. I'm just too lazy to change it.
Oh man, I do hope I see a little. I do hope to see a graphic of my channel though.
Give me. I'm frozen here. Right, is that off now?
But anyways, of course, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the Zubair Talk TV YouTube channel. I don't know if that's being showcased right now, but yeah, remember, subscribe. Be part of the Zuby Nation. And definitely, you may see obviously Ricky on the comments and all that. We know we may have our disagreements, but Ricky's a good guy. And I just hope like this is definitely a good Christmas gift that we're doing for him and also the viewers. Obviously, I'm going to shout him out. And if you want to see more of my opinions, you can check out my channel. But definitely more so, let's help Ricky a little over because I want to help the guy.
I'll put up your link in a second after we've done the final segment. I'll put up a link and you can go and show them a bit more. But
absolutely. But regardless, regardless, this has been a fun show, man. It's really cool, and I love your dynamic. I love the intro. I love what you're doing. Like, tell me, how did you this whole showcase? Do you have to pay for this for like StreamYard and all that kind of stuff? Wow,
£35 a month.
Wow. But you know what? It's good quality, and it's a darn shame I don't see like you don't get much love though. That's a sad thing. That's why I want to help you with that. I want to definitely. We need to put the word out there. You definitely have something to offer.
But if you're Chris Featherstone, you're lucky enough to be. He called it grandfathered, whatever that means. he doesn't have to pay for the upgrade. No, it was not an upgrade. They haven't upgraded it. They've just StreamYard. They're probably $1 million company. Have chosen to charge people more for nothing.
Yeah, it's messed up. Like, especially when I'm doing shows with StreamYard, it's like, again, they ruin your quality on purpose just for you to spend money. You know.
And he's not, and lots of issues with StreamYard unless, like, you've got a good internet, but I've had people on here that their Wi-Fi is awful. So unless you have good Wi-Fi, because that's rule number one for StreamYard, good Wi-Fi. So people don't have good Wi-Fi. It's like Raw's going, and I joke, but I bet he's going to be when Raw goes to Netflix or the Mania. Okay, for us, so it'd be different for you. Or is it different? For us, everything's on Netflix. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the pay-per-views, everything. For you, it'll be on Peacock, won't it?
No. When they say Raw's gonna be on Netflix, it's gonna be on Netflix.
For us, everything. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, pay-per-views, old episodes of Raw, SmackDown, everything.
Everything, yeah.
For everything, Netflix. But for the rest of the world, many will be on Peacock.
No. Pay-per-views are still going to be on Peacock up until the contract, but the intention with WWE, they're going to move everything to Netflix right after the Peacock deal is over. But as of right now, Netflix will have Monday Night Raw solely, and that will be the start of January 6th.
Because I did joke for Mania, because I thought the whole world was going to Netflix. For Mania, where the most people will be watching, you'll get the cold open, 2 minutes of the first match, and the Wheel of Doom. And you'll be like, you get 2 nights of this. Hooray. Anyway, yes, let's go into the studio, pull up in the studio, because it is time for this right here. So news and headlines, 2 pieces of news to talk about. One is just, okay, right, Logan Paul, I know it's on his podcast, he's retired. I don't think he is. He's going to be on Raw, the first Raw. Wouldn't shock me if he wrestles. So for now, it's just basically Logan Paul saying he's retired. Your thoughts on this?
WWE already announced he's going to be appearing on the press conference, so he's not retired at all.
From in-ring action, he said. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah,
we know he's not. No, because he is contracted, and obviously that's just a little ploy to make him seem like he's not. But again, even first, if he was for some reason retired, that just is kind of darn shame. Because like it or not, he is actually a very talented wrestler, and he is honestly made to. He should be. If you want to say, let me tell you this: if Netflix wants a star, they need Logan Paul to be on the show. They need him there.
It wouldn't shock me if they do Cena Logan for your first Raw.
I mean, you have to take. I mean, that would not be a bad idea. But again, like what they're gonna do with Cena, like the first thing he does on his return tour. They already announced a match. Like, I think what they might as well do is first they should build up the idea of that match, right? They should be building up that match instead to like a pay-per-view, or maybe building up to like, even a Saturday Night Main Event.
Yeah, but WWE wants to make that the focus. And the other piece of news, again, just rumors for now. This is not going to happen. Not going to happen for now. I can see it happening in the future, but Mark Shapiro, TKO CEO, said expect more in the future 2-day pay-per-views. I can see it happening. I can see it happening by 2026. Rumble, yes. Survivor Series, yes. Other ones, Money Bank, maybe. Elimination Chamber, maybe. To them, it's just more money. They don't care about really like the quality. I think they're going to. I think they've seen the benefits from Mania. They go 2 nights, more money. They're going to see the benefits from SummerSlam that's going 2 nights next year. I wouldn't be shocked if by 2026, not most, but the big four are all 2 days. So yeah, your thoughts?
Okay. Speaking of SummerSlam, I actually might be going to that since that's gonna be in New Jersey, and that's not too far. And I would love to go. I'm just hoping, obviously, if it's the card is looking good, for sure I will be getting a ticket. Especially I do think they should most likely they will try to make it as big as WrestleMania since it is going to be a 2-night show.
Are you going both nights or just the one?
Weapon?
Are you going both nights or just one?
I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, but the goal is to save up to at least go to 2 nights, because I do want to try to go to 2 nights if I can, especially since, the thing is, I was thinking of going to WrestleMania this past year. I was, but what happened is, and I could have. But what happened was, of course, I was dealing with, I was thinking the last minute I was going to go to night 2. But unfortunately, what happened is right when the last minute, unfortunately, something personal happened to me where it caused us some financial issues where like I kind of had to not go because I had to save those money for something. Like, for example, my home, we had a little flood, and unfortunately, and this was WrestleMania week. This was WrestleMania weekend, and that messed up my mind. It's like, ugh, damn, I can't like last minute because there were tickets were getting cheaper the last minutes. It's like, okay, I might as well go to WrestleMania. But
I would have done night 1. You had The Rock in a match, but that's just me.
Yeah, I would have done. I mean, listen, I was thinking to at least go night 1, but then like the entire card for night 1, nah. So that's why I just like, okay, I might as well watch. Maybe I'll go to night 2. The night 2 show was looking better, and definitely night 2 I felt was the better card. Night 1, great main event with Rock and Reigns versus Cody and Seth. That was really good, but definitely night 2 felt definitely better. And result WrestleMania was definitely good. I enjoyed WrestleMania 30 of 40 for what it was. Definitely.
Yeah, night 1 felt like it was building to night 2, but I looked at the card. I think it was last night, and I thought, if you run through the card, how many of those matches should have been at Mania? Yeah, the tag match, the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm trying to say, but yeah, other than that, so because of that, I want to redeem myself, and I do think, and I do hope that with SummerSlam being 2 nights, they're gonna try to make it somewhat like, for its first 2 nights, they're gonna try to make it very special. Hopefully, they'll be doing big things. I expect hopefully Cena will be there. Obviously, Reigns will be there. I hope The Rock will be there. I hope they actually try to make it a biggest show as they can, especially since it is the SummerSlam. Again, this is one of the main turnoffs with WrestleMania this past year. In Philadelphia, it was cold. Keep in mind with that. And I think that is why that's one of the reasons why WWE is doing 2-night SummerSlams, because of the weather. They're not going to do WrestleMania anymore in the East Coast because the East Coast is cold around April. So that's, I think, is one of the reasons why they're no longer going to do SummerSlam not the SummerSlam, WrestleMania at a colder arena. They're not going to do WrestleManias in a state where it's known to be colder in that month, because unfortunately in the Northeast, East Coast of America, Pennsylvania is in the East Coast. It was cold. It was a cold weekend, and that's what people didn't like about it. So that's why most likely they're gonna do now. Okay, if we're gonna do a show and want to do an East Coast where it could be WrestleMania level, we might as well do SummerSlam. So, and I think this is also to make up for those fans who were freezing cold. New Jersey's not too far from Pennsylvania. They're gonna do another sort of WrestleMania type, and it's gonna be a warmer show. It's gonna be also nice weather. Hopefully people are gonna be going out and about for nice weather, hot 80-degree, 90-degree weather. Maybe it'll be something good to do, and definitely make a lot of money. I do think. Other than that, what was I trying to say? 2 nights.
So like Rumble, Survivor Series, and any other pay-per-views, it probably... Okay, by the end of 2027, it wouldn't shock me if every pay-per-view is 2 nights. But I think they start with the Rumble and Survivor Series in 2026.
Yeah, we got a little off topic. My thoughts. Listen, I do think doing two night. I would not be surprised with at least a big four. Like Royal Rumble. Like I do think sadly that's good. Again, in my opinion, there's no reason to do 2 night pay-per-views. You know, I was never a fan of WrestleMania going 2 nights. I still not. But if you're gonna make WrestleMania different, like if you're gonna do like again these pay-per-views now on a Saturday and or whatever, I mean I do think pay-per-views should be occasionally on a Sunday too, you know, not just a Saturday. But again, this is my opinion. If you're gonna do WrestleMania, then WrestleMania has to be the only show to do 2 nights. Unfortunately, now they're doing SummerSlam being 2 nights. That now it's like, you know, you're reducing the quality. I'm not a fan of the idea of 2 night shows. I see why they're gonna do maybe a Royal Rumble because again, you'll do one Royal Rumble one night, the other the next night, vice versa, whichever the men or the women, and then you try to do some different matches like all these mid card title matches and whatever. I can see what they're gonna do that, but same thing with Elimination Chambers and all that. War games, if they're gonna do Survivor Series war games, one with the men, the women, even though I do think they'll be forced to do every year a Survivor Series or war games match. I do think that there's not need to do a war games every year, save an occasional idea. Because I think the beauty of a war games match, it should be anytime, any place. Like for example, want to be great to see a war games match on the Monday Night Raw, even, something, make it actually must see. Not something like, again, that was the beauty of wrestling back in the day. You don't predict, but again, that's why people did not like Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view. When you do a pay-per-view, automatically Hell in a Cell without building to the match being Hell in a Cell, and then October is always Hell in a Cell month. Like it's
Agreed. Totally agree. That's what
I'm not a fan. Also, of Elimination. Honestly, I don't want Elimination Chamber to be a pay-per-view anymore. I would rather if they brought back No Way Out. And that would take away the, that would at least you can make, again, I think it would be a nice idea. Like, imagine one night, like one in the future, we could see an Elimination Chamber match at a WrestleMania. That is yet to happen. That would be freaking awesome to do, take away Elimination Chamber from happening as a pay-per-view itself. I want to see Elimination Chamber matches happening whenever, without just being predicted, we're going to eliminate, it's February or March now. Elimination Chamber is coming up. Let it be a surprise, let it be when it match calls for it. That's what, and imagine, you want to make WrestleMania big? How about for the first time ever, Elimination Chamber match happen as a WrestleMania? That would be pretty cool.
So I totally agree. Stash Club Wrestling said the same. They've calling it Survivor Series War Games. There's going to be a War Games match, and they are forced to put 10 men, 10 women into that match. No matter if it makes sense, like you saw this year's Women's War Games, made a little bit of sense, but not really. Yeah. It made tiny bits of sense. This is why this person's in, and that's why.
Yeah.
Very, very storylines were made in a month, and okay, this is why this person. This all connected, but they were also very forced to go 10 women. They'll go in the match. We know we're going to get a good match out of them. There we go.
Yeah, they're forcing it. But unfortunately, now you can see that's what they're going to do with a 2-night deal, and that's what probably might happen in the future. Again, I'm not a fan of the idea of 2 nights. I think it will be such oversaturation. I think, I understand maybe some money, but if you really think about how it's going to make money if you're going to lose fans, because I honestly think this will lose fans because it will be oversaturation. And they're going to be pushing wrestlers who no one really likes or no one cares about. It's going to dilute the product of intriguement because there's not going to be much intriguement. Sometimes, again, less is more. Less is more. It's true. The less you do, the better, people wanted to see certain things. When you do too much of something, it could be tiring, for example, you're eating your favorite food in the world. Let's say you love pasta. Pasta is your favorite food in the world. But eating it every day, it will get tiring.
After a week, you'll be like, oh, never again.
Yeah, so that's why it would be a big mistake. No, they should not be doing 2-day pay-per-views. And plus, I do think the wrestlers nowadays are pretty soft compared to the wrestlers back in the day. Because, that's why they cut back on the schedule, right? They're doing, again, tape shows more because of the holidays, even which good for them. But, the problem is, the holidays are not even happening on the Raws and SmackDowns. Like, for example, they taped the Raw for a SmackDown that's not even on Christmas yet. It's not even on Christmas. So
True.
like,
Yeah.
like why? Like, in my opinion, if you wanted to give the wrestlers the break, they have those days when they're not doing a Raw and SmackDown, and not just that, maybe cut back on the holiday schedule. Honestly, there's no real reason to do a holiday schedule when you treat your shows as house shows essentially, or not just that. At least only do less of them. Do less of the house shows, because let the wrestlers do enjoy their holiday break after the holidays. Let them enjoy it, and then they can relax and all that. But again, what I mean by the wrestlers being pissed off, imagine how much these wrestlers will be feeling like they'll be like, again, they'll feel so burnt out. They'll be burnt out by all like adding more shows. So, in my opinion, there's doing 2 nights would be a big mistake for every show, but I won't be surprised if they do it. At least for the big four by 2026 or maybe even 2027. But other than that, it's funny, I predict this is my YouTube channel. Eventually, WrestleMania will become a week WrestleMania.
Oh no! Well, it kind of is a week, isn't it? He starts up.
WrestleMania Raw, WrestleMania SmackDown.
It is a week.
Yeah. So they
Kind
kind of
of.
basically kind of did it. They already did it. Now WrestleMania is basically they did that.
Yeah. WrestleMania Raw, WrestleMania SmackDown. Then you have the Hall of Fame, and then Stand and Deliver. There's 2-night Mania, but Mania's not really. Well, it is 2 nights, but at the same time, it isn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Triple H wants to give people off. So doing your pre-tape SmackDown for the 20th, but isn't there a house show the same day as World's End, so the 28th? I don't know.
I don't know, but like that's the thing, man. Like, if you really want to give these wrestlers the time off, give them the time off after Christmas and on Christmas. Like, again, there's no schedule. There's no. Again, the days they're doing the show on schedule. They're doing the shows on what the 20th and the 23rd. Those shows are going to be taped. Why do they need to be taped? It's not like it's happening on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Why not? Have those wrestlers. Like, again, there's nothing. Again, it's also, you got to look at it in terms of our world. We are hardworking people. We work on the 23rd. I'm gonna be working probably on the 23rd of December, right? Most people gonna be working the 23rd. But then people be off the 24th, 25th. They have that day off, and why not? Don't do shows after Christmas. You could always do like a recap show for the SmackDown after Christmas and whatever. That's what they should be doing. Why are we pre-taping shows when there's really no reason to re-tape shows? It's just them being lazy. I understand the whole argument that you want to give them time off, but like, how are you really giving them time off when you're gonna force them to work after Christmas? So
True.
It's like you don't win.
But we'll finish up here with you promoting your channel. So there it is. So I should have asked this at the beginning. I didn't. How long have you been watching wrestling, and who's your favorite all time? For me, it's the 24th year, and mine is the final boss, The Rock.
Yeah. So obviously, shout out to Ricky, man. We've known each other through Dr. Chris Featherstone from Sports Keto and Pancakes of Power Slam. Shout out to him, man. We gotta shout him out. He's
I do. It's in the description, and I shout him out every watch along. I tell people about what's in the description. So Chris Featherstone is there on my channel every time, but I just don't shout him out. So,
but yeah, it's because of him why we know each other, especially because we are patrons of Dr. Chris. I support him a lot because he is a very good guy and he knows what he talks about. I think he's also entertaining, and I enjoy his videos. Especially his work with Vince Russo on the Sports Keto Wrestling page on YouTube. But yeah, in terms of myself, yeah, that's how me and Ricky have now got to know each other, and now we're buddy. I taken under his wing and taken Ricky under my ring, trying to help him out, trying to have him less being a little marky, because I want him to be better, But listen, this is all good fun. I do care about Ricky. I think the guy is a good guy. It's a blessing to know him this past year. I definitely want him to be happy. I want him to be good, and I'm just that's the beautiful thing about this year. and when you're growing up and when you're with life, you're taking one day at a time, meeting great people. That's what it's about.
I'm
That's how I
never
met.
going. I'm never going to grow up. I'm always going to be childish. I refuse. I refuse. I'm like Peter Pan. I refuse to grow up.
You can't think
But
that way. Like, listen, I don't. No one wants to grow up, but that's part of life, bro.
but back to you. So, how long have you been watching wrestling, and who's your all-time favorite?
So I've been watching wrestling basically since I was born. I am 25 now. There's no real thing where I remember what was my first memory, but wrestling has been always on my TV screen. I think one of my memories of wrestling was definitely the NWO in WWE. Hogan returned to WWE during 2002, so that's like one of my earliest memories, along with Shawn Michaels coming back to the WWE. But again, I have watched WWE just like in my baby eyes, really. But again, that's one of my earliest memories. Along with buying, I remember my first wrestling game, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. It was based on that time area, so that's one of my earliest memories. So you can say, even though I've been watching technically for 25 years, but like what I remember was more so since 2002. So probably you can say 3 years, or like 23, 24 years maybe. But I give my thanks to the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth game for helping me with my knowledge, for catching up and loving. Because that's the beauty of that game. When you play the season mode, it kind of correlates to what they were doing around that time. So I remember a lot of things from it. And I rewatching from like YouTube, old Raws, old SmackDowns, and old wrestling in general. And that got me to be a fan of wrestling regardless. WWE, then watching TNA at the time. I became a big TNA fan back in 2007 when guys like Kurt Angle was there, Main Event Mafia, all that kind of stuff. And watching old Nitros and old ECWs as well. My favorite of all time is The Undertaker. The Undertaker is an inspiration. The Undertaker is the greatest of all time. Just everything about The Undertaker in terms of the wrestler was great. Great character, great persona, great mic skills, great wrestling skills, like the total package. The Rock, obviously, I do like The Rock. I think we can agree, like, we love The Rock. But I'm gonna go with Undertaker as my number one. If you were to ask me who's my favorite of all time, it's gonna be The Undertaker. But again, there's so many great wrestlers, but The Undertaker is forever will be the greatest of all time. Just so talented. There's a reason why he was loved.
I know you met Hulk Hogan, and I met a certain somebody. I'm going to show you the picture of me in a second. I go to a wrestling convention every year called Love of Wrestling here, and it was this guy was there at the very first one. If you can see that, that is Undertaker.
Oh my God, you met him.
£150 for a picture, but yes.
Wow, that's awesome. When did you meet him?
2019 they did the first one, and then there was COVID, and then it came back in. Well, the fifth one's next year. So I did this year, I did last year. So it must have come back in 2022.
Wait, what show was it, or what was the
Called for the Love of Wrestling convention. Next year they've got Sting, Flair, they've had Demolition, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Christian, Lita, Trish Stratus.
Oh, that's a wrestling dream, bro. Like, I hope.
We've met some huge names. They've had Daniel Bryan, they had Booker T. I'm just looking at the people now. $1 Million Man, IRS.
Dude, that's big. What are you talking about?
Yeah, last year I spent thousands on it. I think the first one, no, not the first one. One of them I spent 1,500 on it.
All right.
That wasn't just meeting wrestlers, though. There was travel, food and drink, and hotel.
But that's pretty cool, though. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I have met Hulk Hogan. I met actually, I met Moose. I met from TNA.
Yeah, met him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him. I met Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was the first wrestler I met, and it was this past year. That's something that I will say was pretty cool this year. This year, I met a lot of cool people in terms of entertainment industry. So that's really cool. I met Kurt Angle this year. I met Hulk Hogan. I met Moose. I also met like some people who I didn't document. I met a famous deli guy he here in America. He went viral. I met him recently, and I met I met some cool people actually. But yeah, in terms of that, that's like so far those three people in wrestling I've met: Moose, Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan. Hopefully more in the future. Kurt Angle actually next month is going to be doing a wrestling seminar, and I'm going to be taking part of it. Actually, I don't know if Ricky knows this. And again, I think you remember I have said I wrestled before. I wrestled in high school and college. I'm an amateur wrestler, but actually I still have the goal to be part. And the reason why I speak so knowledgeable about this and why I still care about it, because I do hope to be part of the wrestling industry. So, and I do hopefully soon, once I build my body up, I will be taking part in hopefully more wrestling training. Again, it's all about God's will if he helps me become a wrestler or whatever. So we'll see what happens.
I've done a little bit of wrestling training and I thought, this is not for me. It hurts. It hurts being slammed in a ring. The warm-up was like, ugh, the warm-up killed me. Mm-hmm. So when we got to the wrestling, it was like, oh, I was already sore from the warm-up. But yeah, I prefer just to sit and watch. Speaking of Kurt Angle, I don't know if he was with you, but he just looked physically in pain and halfway through because love of wrestling, you're talking thousands of, not thousands, hundreds and hundreds of meet and greets can go on. Well, okay, the meet and greets are scheduled, but they can go on for hours and hours.
Yeah.
So Kurt was halfway through, had to sit down. So that was sad to see. Like, Kurt was never one of my heroes, but if I met The Rock, and The Rock has kept himself in incredible shape. But if I met The Rock, he was like, he had to sit down halfway through, be like, okay, I've met The Rock, great, cool, but that's my hero kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame because you have to understand, like, Kurt Angle, like, again, it's very nice of him to still want to do this. And I think when I met Kurt Angle, very nice guy. When I told him, like, I was actually hoping to be part of the industry, he was actually, like, taking the time to talk and, like, yeah, man, hey, this is what you gotta do and all that kind of stuff. And also, he was very nice. He was also touched that I cited him as, like, inspiration because, like, I wrestled in amateur wrestling. That's also why, like, the way he's in his body. His body has been through a lot. He was an amateur wrestler in a young age, Olympic gold medalist. Broke his neck. That's also going to be part of why he's going to be in a chair, or sitting down in a chair. He's not going to be as active to want to sit, stand up. So he's given his body to the business so much. And God bless him.
Very quick before we finish up here, just a couple more stories about Love of Wrestling. This year I met Mark Miro. I went dressed as Reigns. He loved it. He was like, oh, look, great. And obviously they're getting paid a lot of money to come over, but he was like, oh, great. Costume cosplay. And Scott Steiner looked at me like, Mark, kind of. He didn't say it, but his eyes said it like, Mark. Like, and Chris, well, I've done it there. Chris Featherstone, I don't know, as he told you, Scott Steiner hates Mark, so.
I mean, I just think, like, he, a guy like Steiner, it's like, you don't need to do that, right? You just be a normal person, and that's all you need. Just be you. That's how I see it as, like, you don't need to dress up as a wrestler. Sure, it's fun, but, like, at the end of the day, like, just be you, be the amazing Ricky, you don't need to be somebody else. So that's how I see it. Like, you don't need to be dressing up because there's, like, too much of fandom. That's how I see it. But
I've had pictures as me, many pictures, but I just thought last year I'll just dress as Reigns.
That's what's gonna happen. One thing I will say, I think you know this because we're friends on Facebook. I've been actually dressing up lately as wrestlers.
Yeah, I saw your Hogan one. Yeah,
I dressed up as Hulk Hogan for Halloween. Keep in mind though, when I do post maybe later this week, you might see another Hogan picture, but in terms of Santa attire. So
very quickly, should show you live the Scott Steiner one. Very quickly. That's just what lost my sunglasses. So there we are. There's Scott Steiner. And there's me dressed as. Okay, I had the wig on, the Hula Fowler, but he looked at me like, Mark. His eyes said, "You're a Mark."
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was getting paid a lot to be there, probably. So
Yeah,
obviously
he
you can't
was,
you
absolutely.
can't call the fans marks, because then we might get upset. And the convention, the event, obviously want fans to go home extremely happy.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yes, your YouTube channel, do you do? I've seen you do everything. You do reviews of WWE, AEW. I saw you do a watch along for Elimination Chamber, the Mike Tyson, what was it called, Jake Paul fight.
Yeah.
Also, didn't you drink 24 glasses of?
Yeah, so
Oh,
guys, again, I am a cokehead. Well, not in terms of drugs. I'm a big Coca-Cola soda-holic. I drink Coke every time. I mean, obviously, like, oh, it's not healthy, but it's healthy for me. Don't worry. It's my gimmick,
full of sugar, isn't it?
bro. It's the gimmick. It's a gimmick. Don't worry about it. But again,
Well,
I'm still able to have a beautiful body.
it might not be sugar in the year of 2024. It's probably a sugar replacement, but still, it's the caffeine, isn't it? But
yeah.
and also, didn't you do something with Donald Trump? So I like that your channel is very varied, which gives you freedom to do anything. It's not just wrestling like mine is.
Yeah, I do. So what I do, sure, I do cover wrestling, but again, I talk about various stuff. I talk about politics. I talk about whatever goes on in the world. I do plan to talk about that. You heard about the CEO shooter, right? You saw that shooting that happened in America. The CEO.
I think it was on the news, but
Yeah, well, it's like unfortunate. Like, yeah, I want to cover like some news and give my thoughts on certain things. Like, for example, so what happened was there was a CEO of a healthcare. He got shot because of that. The whole issue, and I want to talk about the issues of that. I talk about news, politics, rants, reviews, rants on other things other than just wrestling. You got wrestling non-topics about wrestling, politics, you name it, the whole 9 yards. It's whatever I want to talk about. But again, like, I do it in my own way. I think the beauty of my channel and myself as a YouTuber is I have I display character by show, and I entertain in my sort of way while giving my opinion. That's how it is, and I think that's the beautiful thing of your channel too. You display, good professionalism, and also just all being you. That's why you should be. Again, it's all about me. Actually, one of my buddies is I'm gonna hopefully have on the channel soon. We're gonna hopefully talk about some relationships. We're gonna talk about hopefully some relationships and all that kind of stuff. And I might even talk about just some daily vlogs. I mean, I've done vlogs before, but we're gonna do maybe like my thoughts on certain things. But again, it's whatever I feel like talking about, I'm going to talk about, and I hope to entertain every single person I can, one video at a time. And I sure Ricky does the same thing.
And I do show comments, and I will show this, but can you read that? What's that? That's obviously like a bot or something, because what does even the YouTube name say? And that, what does that say? Just
something in Russian. We got the Russian bots, man.
Because I think it's. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a bot. They have appeared on my channel before, but yeah, I don't know what's even the YouTube channel name. Is like what? What's that?
All right, now don't worry about it. Don't worry. Be careful. Be careful.
But yes, your channel, the beauty of it is very varied, not just wrestling. I've reviewed movies on here, but apart from that it's just strictly wrestling.
Yeah, it's just if I have the time, it's just, again, it's not easy doing videos it's just, unfortunately, I'm only able to cover wrestling right now because I do have a busy schedule in my life, and wrestling is going to be something that I'm more popular to talk about. So that's why I do cover it mostly, but I do try to be varied. And that's just how I am. But again, my channel is Zubair Talk TV. Please subscribe to that. You can also subscribe to my other two channels that I have listed on my feature channels, Zubair Talk TV Live and Zubair Talk TV Backup channel. Those channels, sure, I have not been uploading a long time, but that's because those are my backup channels. If anything was to happen to my YouTube channel, let's hope nothing bad happens to my YouTube channel, because YouTube has been very crazy with with their rules and regulations, certain videos that can be taken down just for, even though they were approved back in the day, but they'll take it down because, with their new regulations, because they're very politically correct, which is a problem. And hopefully, Ricky won't have a problem of his channel too.
And yeah, so as you say, very politically correct. So I'm surprised they allowed your. Didn't you do like a live when you went to see WV Hall of Famer Donald Trump?
Oh yeah, I'm surprised. Well, you know what? That's the thing. Like, the beauty is, like, that I'm surprised it's still live, still up. It just, again, you never know. What if something happens in the future? They may want to take it down. You know what I mean? They already restricted it. From, like, what I know is that at least it's restricted on certain countries.
Isn't it crazy to think Donald Trump's in the Hall of Fame?
And then he became president again for 2 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not really a politics guy. Just it is what it is.
you don't need to be.
Here in the UK, we get to vote, but do we really? Is it fixed? Who knows?
Yeah, I hear you.
But let's finish up here. I don't know if you have do you have a catchphrase to it that you in your videos with or no?
Well, yeah, I'm just keeping it real. Get your gains, drink your colas magnificently. Aspire, make some. How can I keep it PG? Because I know you're probably PG. Get them witches on the big black couch.
Get those poontang pie bitches, as a rock would say.
And drink your colas magnificently, and again, be yourself. That's all I done gotta say, folks. Get your gains, colas magnificently, aspire, miss some, witches go whatever. And yeah, just again, always be true yourself. Take care. Until next time, peace.
That is right. Yes, make sure you get your plenty of poontang pie. Make the rock proud.
Absolutely.
But as my dog is now wanting a walk, I'll walk it in a second. But everyone like, subscribe, share, all of that. Only a few more videos for the year to be going, but I will be doing, for the final time, probably ever, our AW watch along for World's End, and then next year changes are coming because, the pay-per-views aren't good. Mm-hmm. But always remember, if wrestling is the game, excellence is the name, and excellence is Ricky Goldman.
All right.